start. Are we live? Are we live? We're live. Okay, 1 second. Let me just check on my phone quick. Okay. Okay. I don't know what the fuck just happened there. I'm so sorry. I'm just not allowed to stream, apparently. Okay. Okay. Everything's good. Let me bring up my little streamer bot. This is a good sign, you know, with streamer bot crashing and then OBS crashing. We're doing good. We're doing so good right now. We're doing so good. Oh yeah, I just want to do one more test just to make sure that Twitch and YouTube are connected. Twitch and YouTube are not connected again. Love that. Cool. But yeah, no, chat widget's different. I might like do some like fussing around like a little bit later, but yeah, just try out different widgets, trying out different presentations. I might change the coloring of the chat widget on this page just for a bit of contrast because everything is like blue, but you know, we're workshopping it. But yeah, so that was a trailer review. I feel like we're all 14 pilled again, all 14 vibed. So I've been working on some bingo sheets because I have 2 bingo sheets. I have a Final Fantasy 14 hopes and dreams that we're going to do first, where I just want to talk about the things I want to see in 14. And this I'm gonna keep forever because like you never know if and when things will happen. It can be outlandish. It doesn't matter. It's my hopes and dreams. And the second one is just more of like a bingo, like a traditional bingo she set up for Fanfest specifically. So not 8.0 as a whole, just Fanfest. So what I think they may show or like my guesses. Oh God. So we'll see how that goes. I think because there's an ad about to run soon that we'll do a quick break for ad. I'm gonna eat this banana, and then we'll start with the bingo. Does that sound fair? So stand up, stretch, grab a snack, and then we'll talk about the bingo. I'll see you soon. I had to pick like the most vibiest song to like click off of. What the fuck? I want to hear more of it. So let me just turn this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's see. Check the audio quick. Do I just not have Spotify? Oh, I do. Okay. It's just really fucking quiet. I think. And testing with me talking. Let me see here. I think that should be fine, right? Okay. It's bingo time, baby. Isn't it beautiful? It's okay, but it's beautiful. I worked on it. I'm happy with it. So yeah, I have everything hidden right now because I'm just gonna kind of like randomly like pop things open and talk about them as we go through it. If you want, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I did put a channel point redeem, so you can actually tell me which one you want to reveal first. Just like being a little bit more interactive. So just keep in mind with that, I believe it is a required text in there. You have to just tell me which spot you want to have open. Keeping in mind that it's like bingo, like traditional bingo here, where each row, or I guess each row is the number, each column is the letter. So like B1 is this top left corner, O1 is the top right corner, B5 is the bottom left corner, and O5 is the bottom right corner. So things like that. But also keep in mind that if you're going to do those redeems, I try to put a reminder in the channel redeem itself. N3 is the free spot. There's nothing there. Don't put a redeem for that. You're wasting your points. I'm like, unless you want to waste your points, then I guess knock yourself out. But yeah. So if you want me to talk about a specific one right away, you just pop that in there and that will help the flow of a conversation. But if not, I'm just going to talk about them. But yeah, so I have the two bingo sheets. I have the hopes and dreams here first. These are just things as a longtime Final Fantasy XIV player I would like to see in the game. I am not a game developer. I'm aware of that. I know that some things may not be feasible, especially people always talk about spaghetti code. I don't care. I don't care about how feasible things are with budgets and with coding and what have you. I just play the fucking game. So these are the things that would make me happy if they add it. Yoshi P, if you find this at some point, what's up? It'd be really great if you could add these things in. You don't even have to credit me. Hush you. the free spot is don't stop believing. Okay, I don't know what to start with. I am overwhelmed. Where are we going to start with first? I guess we'll go start with the silliest thing first. We are going to start with G5, which is here. We'll talk about that later. So G5 for me is Bard. I hope it's not too small for you guys. I try to make it as big and clear as possible. But I have a picture of Bard here. It's a silly request, but there is a deeper reason for it after as well. It's still silly for me, though. Can you give Bard a res? I mean, I am a Bard. Bard is my main job. I would like Bard to have a res, please. Mostly because I think it would be really silly and really fun to basically have the idea of singing someone back to life. Just as a person who heavily relies on music to get through the day and all that kind of fun stuff. Like, I like that idea of it. But also, on the grander scheme of things, and it gets more depth to that, is like, can we just get more support utility for Bard? Like, I'm okay with losing out on, like, DPS options or viability or what have you. I would like to be more support-based, please. Even if it's not just Bard, like, I would like to have at least some other kind of jobs that are more support-based. Like, I know technically speaking, Bard is support with the Troubadour, with the Nature's Man, with our songs, what have you. But, like, I'm sorry, I'm greedy. I want more. Like, why? Not that I'm, like, I don't want to hit, like, other jobs to make my job feel better. But, like, why does Summoner still have a res? That's silly. Give the res from Summoner to Bard. Bard is the support. Summoner is not support. Make Summoner summon Go Burr, do lots of damage, summon Bahamut 50 billion times, whatever. let Bard do more of the support stuff. Bard, technically speaking, if you think about this back in 2.0, I think it was 2.0, the LB3 for Bard was actually a res because Bard was the only Fizz range at the time. So they just gave, and at the time you only had 2 healers. You only had White Mage and Scholar. So basically the 3 jobs had the same LB3, which was like resing the crowd. So you know what? It is in canon. It is in canon for Bard to res people. So give it back and just give us more support utility. I mean, yeah, as a summoner was my secondary job. When I first played 14, back in the Heavensward era, I was actually a summoner first. And then I had Bard on the side. And I miss the jank. I miss dots. I miss silly things. I miss having an interesting rotation for summoner. But we're not talking about summoner right now. I know, well, that's the thing. I like dots. I love dot management. So I love that Bard is like one of the last jobs to have some kind of dot management, and I pray that they don't take it away. But right now we're not talking about what we hope is not changed. I'm just talking about what I would like to see changed, and I would like for you to give Bard a res. That's all. Next one. That's all I had to really say for Bard. It's pretty short and sweet. Unless you guys have a space you want me to do, we shall do, what's another like fluffy one? I guess we're stuck in, I'm trying to randomize. I don't want to stick in just like one area the whole time. I guess we'll go with C6. There's no 6. C5. There's no C. Stop confusing me. Okay, we're going with B1. Shit, hit the wrong thing. B1. I want Mystic Knight. I'm okay with Yoshi P saying we have too many jobs. No, this is it's bingo. B-I-N-G-O. I told you, it's traditional bingo spread. So this is B1. I'm not a weirdo. It's how you play bingo. Gosh. So B1. I want Mystic Knight. I'm okay if Yoshi P says there's too many jobs. We can't do jobs anymore. We're going to focus on balancing things. That's fine. But before you do that, can you bring in Mystic Knight? And I'm okay if Mystic Knight is not called Mystic Knight. Like if it's Runic or Rune Fencer or whatever it was called in Final Fantasy XI. That's where this art is from the Final Fantasy XI Mystic Knight artwork. Final Fantasy V was a really fucking cool game. It's so far, I think, my favorite of the non-14 Final Fantasies. And Mystic Knight was rad as fucking hell, and it should be in the game. Please. Please, 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 please. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's all I want. I just want Mystic Knight. Like there are other jobs. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if this job was in the game. But Mystic Knight, I would actually drop everything and play because, like, goddamn, I just really want it. That's all for that one too. That was a nice and easy one. Next one. Do you have any input? Is there a box you would like me to see flipped? Keeping in mind it's bingo. B-I-N-G-O. I mean, that's the thing. I was like, Mystic Knight could be like a tank. And it would be cool to have like a caster tank. What is bracket 04? 04? Okay. That would be So 04 I know the picture's probably not super clear. It's kind of like a 2-in-1, but really I'm focusing on the squadrons. I wish they would do more things with squadrons. The thing that I would really like for them to do is actually incorporate squadrons into the trust system. Like I think it's a missed opportunity that in the trust system, which for anyone who doesn't play 14, basically when you're going through the story and you're doing the dungeons, usually you would link up with 3 other people, like other like live players or a bot, and go through the dungeon together. But there is an option now as of Shadowbringers, and they've been slowly introducing to all the other expansions as well, is that you can go in with like CPUs, usually NPCs of the game that you would know, like at the story at the time. And if there isn't any viable NPCs available, they would just put in a random NPC from a different like grand company. I think that's a missed opportunity because there's a thing in the game called a squadron where you basically are in charge of your little units, and you're going through like the dungeons to level them up. And I think that we should take the characters, this party that we've been building on the side content, and incorporate into the trust, just to give it, just to give it more to do. Like, why put all this work in if I'm only using it on this one form? Like, I would like, and we'll talk about this more with other things I have in here down the line. But I just I wish that things weren't so locked away and it's specific content, and that if you've done that content, that you have the freedom to utilize it in other aspects that complements the intention of that content, if that makes any sense. So like with Trust, I wish we could have more dungeons and we can go through the other expansions with the Trust, but then also incorporate them into the Trust system itself. So if I want to go through a New Game Plus, I can do that with this group of parties that I've put a lot of time and attention into and leveling them up. And I don't know, like I like to RP, so I would like to have more of that RP experience with like everything I'm putting into, and give them like actual characters and like little arcs and like, all that kind of stuff. Cause that's just like that's the fun I have in this game. Yeah, no, Bard sub-specking to Singer would be pretty cool as well. No, I was like, I wish they would have more depth into a lot of these things. I feel like a lot of these game modes are very, very shallow, and there's just so much more opportunity to flesh them out. And I'm not saying that you have to continuously, like, every patch or even every expansion, like, increase more things for the squadron, but you just know. I mean, I would like it if maybe like once in the expansion you increase more, but like just in general, just come back to this. And I think on additional to that would be with the grand companies, like it stops at whatever, I can't remember what the top level is right now, but that's not the full scale of the grand companies, like in terms of the role that you have there. They just kind of stop supporting it at some point. I would like them to go back. Yeah, a lot of people have forgot about grand companies. I wish they would go back and increase that so we can do like the max leveling, because they kind of stopped us, I think, at like the third highest level. So go back and finish that off. And if I may be so bold, introduce other grand companies in there. Let me be part of Ishgard. I want to work under Ishgard, please. That would also be neat. I mean, I feel like a lot of these kind of cover casual content, because I guess with the way I play the game would be considered casual, I guess. I don't know. Okay, but that one's done. Any wishes for a next box before I pick one at random? I wish I actually had a random box, like a random selection. I3? Where's threes? I3. Blue Mage content! Whee! I promise, this is not Doomer posting because Blue Mage is not getting an update in 7.5 when everyone was hoping and waiting very impatiently for Blue Mage content. That's not what I'm talking about, because I feel like even that coming is not what I want to see. Okay, so I know Blue Mage initially was introduced as it's a what is it called? Like a not a sub job, not partial job. What is it called again? Whatever. It's a special denoted job. Limited. It's a limited job. So you can't use this on main content. You can't take this into like duty roulette or like do like raiding or anything like that with this job. It's very specific conditions that you can play this job. And I know they initially wanted Blue Mage to be more of a single player focused job, but then they end up dabbling a little bit into more multiplayer stuff. And then obviously the demand for more multiplayer stuff kind of eclipsed the initial intention. I think because of the introduction of Beastmaster and them focusing really hard on Beastmaster being an explicitly single player experience, I think they should fully lean into Blue Mage having more multiplayer aspects. You can still maintain its limited jobs class. That's fine. But give more for Blue Mage to do. Specifically, what I would like is I would like Blue Mage to be able to be taken into deep dungeons and given their own unique Blue Mage titles for completion. So, like if Blue Mage goes through the entirety of Palace of the Dead, they don't get the Necromancer title, but they do get a special Blue Mage title instead. I feel like there should be 2 titles, one for like a solo win and one for a party of Blue Mages. You can still have the limitation that you can only go in with other Blue Mages. That's fine, but allow them to go through the deep dungeons because that's silly fun. I also think they should be able to do ultimates and be given unique ultimate Blue Mage titles. So if they do like if they do Uwu or Ucob or whatever, they don't get like the legend title. They get like a whatever Blue Mage specific legend title. Like it's very identifiably a Blue Mage content. Same with like, give them their own ultimate weapon. That's like the Blue Mage staff, but like with the ultimate graphics. I feel like I know that Ultimate still has like a lot of people like playing into it like all the time, but I still think it'd be really fun. I think the way that Blue Mage's approach is it's like a little bit easier compared to other jobs because you have so much flexibility in terms of how you want to express your job. And one thing I really like about Blue Mage is the job expression that a lot of other jobs are missing now because they're so stuck to that 2-minute rotation. So I think that kind of breathes more life into that. It makes people more I feel like it makes people more willing to try out content that they're initially scared of doing. Especially since right now it seems like the dev team are so focused on trying to get people that are more into the casual play into more of like what people call the hardcore play or endgame play with extremes and savages and ultimates. And I feel like they're just going about it the wrong way. I feel like having just more content available. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, it's been my biggest issue. I'm like, just let the casuals be casual. But I feel like this is an interesting way of dabbling into that. Like, I've never done an ultimate. I'm not really interested in ultimates. But I like how silly it sounds to do ultimate as a Blue Mage with a whole bunch of other Blue Mages. Because I feel like there's just a lot more things to work around. Like, like people are trying to figure out like, okay, so you're going to be the tanky one. I'll be the healer one. You be the more DPS-y one. Like, I don't know. It just seems more fun, less serious to me anyway. And I feel like, while I know I'm not a monolith for all other casual players, I feel like if I'm interested in it, I feel like there's probably other people that are going to be really interested in this as well. And I think it would be an avenue at least worth exploring. At least. Like, let people do U or UCOB as a test and see how that goes. But I think that'd be really fun. And for the non-casuals, I feel like this is a great opportunity to refresh some of those fights or have people experience that fight in a different way. Like, my husband, his friends do a lot of like ultimate reclears for things. And they've done those ultimates so many times. And I feel like they would have fun going into it in a whole different way as well. So I think it'd be worth it. Not to mention, this is not ultimates. I'm just kind of really annoyed by this. Still is, I would like every dungeon and trial to be for you to be able to do them as Blue Mage. It really bothers me, partially because it's my favorite trial in the game, but it really bothers me that you can't be Blue Mage for SOS for the 5.3 trial. And one, I think that's a perfect opportunity for Blue Mage to get a limit break, because the way that Blue Mage works, like it's the perfect time for Blue Mage to get a limit break. It's my favorite trial, so I just really want to do that as a Blue Mage. And I think it should be like, if you're going to do this, or they can do some trials, some dungeons, some raids, I think you should just lean into it and let them do everything. So that's basically my big wish for Blue Mage. I feel like it has a lot of potential, even as a limited job, even if it can never be doing roulettes with everyone else and all that kind of stuff. I still think there's a lot of opportunity with this job. Just more depth, really. It comes down, I feel like a lot of these things are going to be like, I just want more depth in this game. Even if it's not updated as regularly as everything else. Like, if we're only going to get a yearly update, or not yearly, it's not yearly, every expansion. So if we're only going to get an update for Blue Mage every, at most 3-4 years, let's make it count. Like, I don't want just a level upgrade and a couple dungeons and a couple extra moves. Like, no, like make this worth it. Make this fun. Because right now with Blue Mage, I'm assuming this is going to happen with Beastmaster as well, is that they're going to drop, and because there isn't that much depth, people will play it for 1 to 2 weeks and then drop it, and then no one's doing it anymore. And I feel like if you have this opportunity to do all these dungeons and trials and raids and extremes and savages and ultimates with Blue Mage and having Blue Mage content, I feel like you'll have a more rich player base, like a more enriched player base. So that's just my opinion. That's just my hope and dream. Next one. Which one? I shall go with, I'm just gonna take a drink of water first. We'll do another like light fluffy one. We shall do N4. N4. This is a silly one. It's a nitpick more than a dream or wish. So you have the, what are they called now? The Society Quest? They used to be called Tribe Quest. They used to be called Beast Tribe Quest, but you know, that's, you're basically calling them a slur at that point. That's yikes. But I'll just call them the Tribe Quest. So with the Tribe Quest for all of these expansions, we live in a society. You had about like, 3, depending on some expansions, they were like higher, like 4 or 5, but like 3 tribes that you're working with over the course of expansion. One that's more one that's more combat class focused, one that's more crafter focused, and one that's more gatherer focused. Basically you help them out, help either their economy or surviving or what have you. And as you level up, it tops off. And then once you level all 3, then they have what they call now is like Allied Society Quest or like Allied Tribe Quest, where you're basically bringing all those tribes together, where they work along with each other to achieve whatever they're looking for. And it's just a cute like little quest end thing, like a little capstone to like that expansion. You usually get something like a emote or like a mount or whatever at the end of it. Shadowbringers never got one. And it's for valid reasons. It was during that initial COVID-19 lockdown period. Some content had to be suspended or cut because they were working from home. They didn't have the resources to do everything that they usually did. So just the timing of it, they had to cut corners on the Allied Tribe Quest, and we had to give it up. The reason why it bothers me so much is if you go into the menu, right now, instead of it being capped at like step 9, I think it is, like everyone else is when you finish everything, they're stuck forever at like 7 or 8, like whatever the second highest is. And it's not showing as allied, it's showing as like whatever the thing is, like Bloodsworn or whatever. And it bothers my little completionist brain. Like, it just frustrates me a lot. Like we just need to fix it a little bit. Just and I just want to see it finished, because we were like working towards like doing like a party or something, and we just never did it. So like, let's just finish it up. And not to mention, I'm never going to be upset going back to Shadowbringers area anyway. And it's just one quest, right? It's just one quest. So just give me this one quest to wrap this up, scratch that little itch, and I'll be happy. That's it. Okay. Next one. Oi. Let me see here. Unless we have requests, I'm going to go with, let me just close out these other ones. Okay, clean these up. We're going to go, I feel like we're very bottom heavy right now, but like whatever. We're going to go with 05. Which, 05 for me, the picture, I don't know if it's too blurry for people to see it, but it's just a person on the carbuncle mount in Idleshire. I try to limit my hopes and dreams with just, I want this thing brought back. I want this thing brought back. I want that thing brought back. So there's only like maybe 2 or 3 things on this list where I'm just like, oh, we had this thing before. I would like you to bring this back. Just, that. So it's less of me just whining. I want us to be able to have mounts in cities and in other like map locations again. I know that we haven't been able to really have it in city areas since I think it was at 1.0 you could have like mounts in like Limsa or whatever. But there are certain locations where I feel like it's a disservice not to have a mount in the area. One being the Solution 9 location in Dawn Trail, like where there's literal roads on the ground. And it's like an outdoor kind of, I know it's not like truly outdoor, but an outdoor vibe. And it's really open space. And like that map is absolutely huge. And you have roads. And like you can buy like cars and motorcycles and stuff like that. Why can't we use our mounts in the roads? Like that's such a missed opportunity. And I think it would like liven the area up a little bit. Oh, same with like other like more like, sorry, I accidentally blasted music in my ear. It scared me. Same with like a lot of like other like wide open like outdoor spaces. I don't understand why we can't have mounts in those locations. Now, if we are concerned about any, people griefing, and people do, like people like standing over retainer bells and like key like shopkeeper things. I think for those, you just do what we did for the summer event with the jump tower, where you just block off the area. Like you can't mount in this location. So if they do go over this area, they automatically dismount. But anywhere else in the city that you can have a mount, bring it back. I don't understand why we're not. I don't care about limitations, whatever. Bring it back. That's my request. Next, let's try. I feel like I did all of my quick, easy ones in the bottom. Let's try to do something more at the top. Let's see here. We'll bring up to N1. Okay. So I know that there is the rumor right now that we're going to get like a character create overhaul. And I guess that's nice. I don't really care because I'm pretty set on Yokita, like my Warrior of Light, how she looks and everything like that. Like I'm pretty content with that. However, I think it'd be really cool that if they did do a character create, especially the way I think they're going to do it, I think it would be really cool if we introduced more sub races. So like Aura, for example, we have Rain and Zayla. Like my Warrior of Light is Zayla. Zayla being the dark scales and Rain being the light scales. I think it'd be really cool if we had like more sub races. One, it just adds more lore to the game, like more depth to just like the world of the game itself, especially when one of my biggest issues with the game is I feel like because of so many different kinds of cut content or abandoned content, and though the direction of the writing that they took in the post patches of Endwalker with resolving certain issue or certain like mysteries, I feel like the world's feeling a little shallow at the moment. There isn't as much depth to it, as much of like it doesn't feel as not real. Like it doesn't feel as realized anymore as it once did because everything's been wrapped up so much. So I think introducing sub races, I feel like it will reinvigorate the world a lot more than just like adding like different tribes or different sorry, the music's distracting me, like other maps and like the usual things that they do. So I remember seeing sorry, I'm gonna say the M word. I remember seeing a mod that someone did for Aura specifically, where it was a different type. I think it was like a rework of Zayla scales, where they had more of like a bioluminescent feel to them. And I think they're like their lore for it was like, it was more of a cave, like Zaylas that lived in caves by the water. Just like leaning more into like that fish aspect to it and everything. And I think that's really cool. I think we should really see like a lot more of that. I would like to see like other clans of Aura and of, all the others as well, like the Bakode, the Hur, the Helizin, I guess, the Lalafell, like the Vieira and Hrothgar and all that kind of stuff. So I think it would just, and it adds more individuality and more like character design expression if you have more of those choices. And I think something as simple as a sub race adds just like so much extra character expression to it, and just an easy way of writing more depth to the world versus like other things where you're like, I feel like the information it adds gives opportunity to visit it later if it's, you know, services the story in a way other things may not. Like, I do have other things in here where I'm like, oh, I wish this series would come back, or I wish this kind of thing was added. But those can also be very one and done. I feel like this is a good, like good, what do you call it? Like hanging thread that you can add in that doesn't take as much effort compared to other things. But I'm not a developer, so what would I know? But yeah. I'm sorry, I have a bad headache now. What the fuck? Next one. Let's go with, was it G3? Let's go with G3. Nice and easy. G3 is submersibles. And it's kind of attached with housing in general. Right now, submersibles are only thing that you can do with an FC house. And I wish you could bring that to more private estates. Like, I'm in an FC. I can play around with the submersibles if I wanted to. Like, I'm pretty sure my FC lead would be okay with me doing that. But, like, I don't want to fuck around with that. I don't want to fuck it up for my FC. I'd rather just do it for myself. And I think it should be open to more people. Like, you know, I've been with my FC for a really long time, so I know that my FC lead would trust me to do something like that. But that wouldn't be the case for everyone else in my FC. I don't think we would extend that freedom to them. I don't think we could, you know, we can't necessarily trust everyone. So I think it's only fair that you would also give the opportunity to people who have private homes or apartments to be able to do something like that. I dislike that private apartments have very limited scope. I personally think they should be given balconies so they can do some gardening stuff that the private estates can do and the FC estates can do. And I think submersibles should also be extended to that. I think not also including housing here that I didn't include anywhere else. This is kind of stand in for just housing in general. Please, Yoshi P, please let me sleep in my bed in the house so I can wake up in my house when I log back in. Pretty please. Let me RP. Let me sleep in my own house. I love the idea of logging into the game and my Warrior of Light wakes up and stretches and gets out of bed and is like ready to go. But I do it at the inn for like wherever the city location is for that expansion. I would like to be able to do that in my own house. I don't care what the reasoning is. I want to do that. I know a lot of people also want to do like glam stuff in their houses, and I think that would be neat as well. Like I would still use inns and all that kind of stuff, but it's just like, especially, cause I usually use the inns during base expansion stuff, or when I'm doing MSQ, then I use the inns a lot because it's just like, I like to keep my Warrior of Light, like, sorry, one second. Ooh. I like to keep my Warrior of Light around oh God. Sorry, one second. My hearing just completely cut out. Don't mind me, I'm just dying. Give me a second. What the heck? My left ear just completely went out. That's so weird. I can't hear now. Okay, I can hear on my right ear, but not my left ear. That's really weird. Mildly concerning. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I like to keep my Warrior of Light local to like whatever story stuff that she's doing. So I'll like stay at like an inn, like log off in like those general areas. But especially when I'm in the post patch area, especially when it's like the MSQ has been wrapped up for that time being, I'm doing other content, I like to log off at my house. And I hate that when I log in, I'm just standing outside my house. No, I want to be in my house, in my bed. So that's my request. Thank you. Next, what should we do? We will do B4. B4 is, I feel like this is the most basic request. I feel like everyone has this here, but I have it for slightly different reasons. Cross DC PF and DF, which is like cross DC or cross data center, duty finder, and party finder. I know everyone is like, yeah, we want this in there because we hate traveling to other other servers, other DCs to raid with our friends, blah, 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 blah. I get it. The reason why I want it is because I'm lucky, right? I'm on the Ether data center. So I never have to travel for anything. I don't even raid anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't even have to travel. Everyone comes to me. I'm God's favorite. The reason why I want cross DC and cross DC DF and PF is because I want the centers to be freed up, so if we're doing other content with each other, I can freely do that. So like if I want to do like map parties or I'm trying to think of the other content we usually did, like, or just in general, like some of my friends, we would like to do like fashion shows for each other and like show off each other's like glams and stuff like that. I want to be able to freely do that, go around, or what we did before when like my husband and I got married in the game. Some of our friends couldn't come to the wedding in time because the party, the server was all full. It was limited, so you couldn't just like freely travel at that time. So I feel like if we open this up and let the raiders stay where they are like located, you know, it opens up for the rest of us. Not to mention, I feel like a lot of the servers, if you're not in like a big DC and a big server, I feel like a lot of like server culture has kind of gone down because everyone's just kind of like visiting areas. So you have like areas where if they're not Ether, if they're not part of like the Ether servers, they don't have as many people hanging about, and I feel like it suffers for it because there's not as many people like talking with each other, hanging out. Not to mention, like, if people don't want to travel, they just can't do the content. And then on my end, I have a lot of people coming to my server to do the content, but like I feel like I can't really connect with them because they're not from my server. They're just gonna go back. They're only here for raid, and then they're gonna leave right after. So basically, my server, I'm on Fairy, so I'm like, you know, we were the gay server and the Canadian server, and I would like it to feel gay and Canadian again. And I feel like it would do that if we had the freedom to be able to stay in our areas and then go to other areas for like, and stay in our area and do the content like locally. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, that's the other thing. So yeah, the proper incentives for going to other FCs as well, or other DCs as well. Yeah. Of course you were in Balamung. Why am I not surprised? I don't want segregation. I want people to have the freedom to do the content they want to do while still being able to do other things. Like if you travel, like I'm in Fairy. So if you traveled from your server or your DC to play with me, then I can still do whatever the fuck I want. I can still use my my retaining bell. I can still do like all the things that I can do on my home area, but you can't. You can only raid. You can't check anything else. And I think that's stupid. So I think people should be able to like stay in their servers or DCs for things like raid, but still have the you know, if they want to come down after to hang out, then they still can because they don't have to worry about competing with a whole bunch of raiders. Basically, just give the raiders what the fuck they want, so that way I can vibe with my casual content with my friends, my casual friends. Thank you very much. These damn raiders, man, they're a blight. Okay, that's it for that one. Next one. Unless do you guys have a request for another box? If not, I'm picking one, and I'm just gonna drink this water first because my mouth is really dry. No, okay, so I'm gonna pick. Let's go with the 2. None of the 2s have been picked. I mean, yeah. I was considering putting like healers having some kind of rework here, but I'm like, I'm not a healer, so like as much as I would like Astrologian to have like other things to do and the white mage and like other stuff to do, have things to do. That's not my fight. That's your fight. Let's see here. Yeah, it has. Let's go with N. No, not N. Yeah, let's go with O2. O2! I want side characters and side content to be better integrated into the MSQ. This is a picture of Nuclei. I'm probably saying his name wrong. That's just how I always said it. So Nuclei, he's from originally the Heavensward trial series. He's from the Void. Or like from the 13th. Not the Void. The 13th. I mean, it's the same thing. But there's so many different, like, they're starting to do like a little bit now, but they still don't really incorporate characters from side stories into the MSQ. And I feel like it's like a missed opportunity. Like during the Endwalker post patches, like we just didn't do anything with some key characters from Heavensward and Shadowbringers that we met that are from the 13th. That were like, yeah, if we ever do things with the 13th, we will come and get you. And then we just fucking didn't. Even in Endwalker post patches, we had like a cameo from one of the characters. If you did the raid series, then you got a cameo from Gaia. And that was cool. Like I was like, oh, that's awesome that we get to see her. But like, I hate that so many characters are shelved unless they make the story required. Like back when I first played Shadowbringers, the Crystal Tower series wasn't actually a required playthrough up until 5.3. And one of the key characters from Shadowbringers is actually from the Crystal Tower series. So when I guess they were like culminating that character arc, they're like, okay, now we're gonna make it required. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Make that content required. But like, even if it wasn't, like, who cares? If you didn't do the content, you fucking didn't do the content. Then you just won't know who they are. Deal with it. Either do the content or suffer for it, or suffer for not doing it. I hate that there's so many characters that just kind of shelve to be just like lost the abyss. And maybe you'll get like there was like, I think a quest in Endwalker where you could, like a side quest, we can go back to like Inoculi and stuff like that and do stuff with him. But like, just stop being cowards. I hate that we're constantly having to placate people who barely play the game or don't really care about the story. Like, if you're just do the story, then just work with what you have, and the rewards to people who have been doing the story and all the other side content. Like, don't be afraid. Like, when Crystal Tower was required, I started doing, and especially when I caught up in Shadowbringers, that's when I started doing a lot of other side content as well. And you know, like the side content is an excellent source of more lore, and it gave me a better understanding of the world and how like the moving pieces work and how they like relate to each other. So like, I don't know why we have continued to be so wary of actually just like, just commit to it. That's all I have to say. Next. Let me see here. I guess we'll go with I2. I'm just trying to balance out some of this page here. I2. I feel like they've done like a little bit of this, but I want emotes to be fixed a little bit more, or I guess tweaked a bit more if I want to be a bit more forgiving with my language. So for example, like I put like a picture of a Warrior of Light playing on their lodestone, their phone. You could only do this, like it is like now an emote that lasts forever. Like it's a constant looping emote, but you can only do it when you're standing. And I think when you're on your mount, but not when you're sitting down. And I checked this last night to make sure. Why can't I sit down on the ground or in a chair and fucking doom scroll in 14? Why can't I look up 14 discussion subreddit or the 14 forums and doom scroll in 14 in live time? Jokes aside though, like I actually do mean it. I wish that a lot more of these like looping emotes can be used in more situations that isn't just standing or isn't just on the mount. Like I would like to be able to stand and sit, maybe even lie down, be on my mount, floating on water, and be able to do like certain like looping emotes. I think the biggest issue for me, that and I double checked this last night to make sure it wasn't like resolved, is the reading emote. They do have an option now that there's a non-looping one and a looping reading emote. However, the looping reading emote, you can't sit down and read like forever. And for me, this is very much a me thing. I like to RP a lot. Not ERP, RP. So like when I'm like eating food, if I have to stop playing for like a little bit, like for like 10, 15 minutes or, you know, a little bit longer or whatever, I like to park my character in like a scenic area that's appropriate to where I'm at, like whatever I'm doing in that game. And I just get them to do whatever looping emote that makes sense in that situation. So one of my go-to, how can you tell? How can you tell I like to RP? I think I keep it pretty secret. But like one of my go-to locations for like AFKing was the library in Shadowbringers, and I would like to have Yokida be able to sit down and just read a book in the library. Like, why not? No. I mean, it was a bit upsetting when I caught up on Shadowbringers, like when I was like at content. And I was like, oh, I want to like join like RP stuff, and like everything I was finding. Like, I know there is some RP things that do exist, but especially after the COVID-19 lockdowns that happened, I feel like the grand majority of like RP heavy scenes now are ERP focused. And I'm just, fam, I'm asexual. I don't care. That's not my thing. I just want to RP as an adventurer doing fantasy adventurer things. Like I found, like for every one like pub or garden RP like location I can go to talk to people like in like character, there's like 50 nightclubs and like ERP locations. Like it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. I just wish I feel like this would help just for like single player RP things. Like I wish they would have a bit of an overhaul on the emote system or just a bit more polish to it. What next? Actually, no, we actually have one that great, like complements exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go with N2. Speaking with RP opportunities, this is a picture of On Tea's Tacos and On Trail. Dawn Trail actually has quite a few spots that I'm like, man, I wish I could do this thing for RP purposes. So in the trailer that we saw Grahatia eating a taco. He got that taco very likely from this tent here, from this shop called Auntie's or Auntie's Tacos. They apparently have the best tacos in all of Tulialal. I would like to be able to walk up as my character, as my warrior of light, as Yokida Haru, to buy a taco. Like just, I don't even have to see it. It's fine. Like if you just make the taco like 50 gil, like just nothing. I would like to go there, talk to a character, buy a taco, so I can go sit down and just do an eating loop emote. Silly. I know it's so silly. But these are the things that make me happy. Another example of this would be in Solution 9. There's a lot of vending machines there. I wish those vending machines were interactable, so I could like click it and like order, like just pick a drink, and the drink like it makes like the little noise for the drink falling out. So I can pretend that Yokida just bought herself like an energy drink and she goes sit down on the bench and drink and just get crazy. I don't even need the emotes necessarily for drinking. I mean, I would like them, but like for like drinking like a drink from the vending machine and stuff like that. But I would just like the opportunity to be able to interact with those kind of things. Because I feel like, especially Dawn Trail had a lot of those things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could interact with that. So I feel like that's like an easy thing that would just make a lot of RPers happy, because I'm an RPer and I would like for that to be a thing. What else? Let's go with O1. Let me think my other things. Let me see here. O1. This is another silly thing. A lot of these things are silly. Whatever. I'm a silly person. I wish for weapons where there's multiple pieces. So things like with ninja, with the dual swords or dual daggers, with paladin with the sword and shield, with red mage with the focus and the sword. I wish you could actually mix and match the pieces. I know you can do that with the sword and shield with paladin, but I wish you could extend that to other jobs as well. Like I would like to mix and match my bow and my quiver as a bard, or the chakrams for dancer. I wish you could mix and match those. just because it'd be cool. I like, you can do like the big like polar opposites, like where you have like one that's like, you know, big and chunky, the other one's like smaller, or like conflicting or complementary colors, or like just there's some times where I've seen some like different like weapon sets. So I've been like, oh, it'd be cool if you could like mix and match those. I feel like they complement themselves in a strange way. Yeah, that's it. I just think that would be cool, and it'd make me happy if they did that. Next, I talked about this before, so I'll just do it now because I don't really have much to say more than I said before. Is under G1 is Miracidia. I want to go to Miracidia so bad. I know of all of these on here, Miracidia is the most likely thing I'm going to get out of everything, because it's like we're going to go to Miracidia at some point. Probably not for another couple expansions. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be really fucking excited when we go to Miracidia. You get a lot of the dragon lore there. The one bad thing is that we get a lot of the Alligans. I'm just so tired of Alligans. I know there's going to be a lot of Allagan shit, but I just like the dragons. I want the dragon lore. I want to hear more about the time where Bahamut, real like actual Bahamut and Tiamat were doing stuff there and settling down. I want to see what's going on there. I have some theories now of what, like, why and when we'll go to Miracidia, but I'll talk about that more. And I'm assuming at some point I'll do like an 8.0 guessing bingo thing, my bobber. But yeah, I just really want to go to Miracidia. So that's I've been wanting to go there since I found out about it back in, I think it's at Heaven's Word. They probably mentioned it in The Realm Reborn, but I think it's since Heaven's Word onward, I've really wanted to go to Miracidia. Right now, I will say I don't really want to go to Miracidia right now, because I just want to make sure that, you know, the quality of the game is up there. I want them to do Miracidia right. Like, I was interested in going to the New World, like going to Too Loud, but like I don't think they handled that very well. So I would like to see them do like an expansion or two, just to show that, you know, they're kind of they got their groove back again. So I know that, you know, Miracidia will be done justice. Let me see. You know what? Let's just finish off one. One. So this is I1. I think this might have been the case in Stormblood. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't play Stormblood like at the time. But I would like relic weapons to be available, like that process to start at the end of the base expansion. So like for Dawn Trail right now, we didn't get our first step of our relic weapon until I think, was it 0.3 or 0.2? Nah, none of that shit. I want us to get our relic weapon, the first stage of it, at the end of the story of the 0.0 expansion. Like when that wraps up, when we get those credits, we get our relic weapon and we start working on it then and there. And then each patch, we get another step. I think it's really stupid that we backload relic weapons. That should be a thing that we should be working on through the entirety of the expansion. You cannot convince me otherwise. I think it's stupid the way it's done right now. I'm happy they've learned their lesson. They're not doing the fucking thing that they did with Endwalker before, where it was just like tomes. That pissed me off. I love relic weapons. I still think they could do like a little bit better with the way they're doing it right now. But still, I hate that they backload it. That should be available from the get-go. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. Next, let's do the other corner. This would be B5. Pretty simple. I know this is coming anyway for 8.0, or at least they've heavily hinted for a Glam Overhaul, but I don't think the Glam Overhaul, like what they're going to do, is what I would want them to do. I want them just to do like a catalog approach where you can collect. One, I want every Glam piece to be having the dual dye system, or preferably, this is me being greedy, but like a better way of dyeing. If that is more dye channels, or it's some other way, but being able to dye basically every aspect of the garments that you have. But I also wish you could just catalog it, so you don't have to actually store it anywhere. You don't have to store it in a dress or anything like that. Like, it's just a catalog that you can select from. One, it would just give me the reason to go back to all the old content and collect all the glam pieces I missed before. But also just makes it so much easier. Like having things split between a glam dresser and the armoire, it's just clunky. Everything about the glam system is very clunky. In addition, I wish we had, if we're going to be stuck with the glam plate system, there needs to be significantly more. We have like what? We don't even have enough for all the jobs that are in the game, like jobs and crafters and gatherers. We need significantly more. If you need a hard cap it, I don't know. Give us like give us like 50 or like 100 or something. I don't know. But there needs to be a lot more. One thing I would love with the glam, if we're doing the glam plate system still, is can we please tie hairstyles to glam plates? Please. One, because I have certain glams I've saved for specific expansions or story beats. But other things too, like, hey, my hair, the way it looks during when I'm doing MSQ would be different from when I'm just like in my cat, like my, for me, because again, I like to RP. I have an outfit that I wear per expansion. It's different, like I change the outfit per expansion or different like story beat. That's for the story. But if I'm not doing story stuff, then I have a different outfit that's more of like a relaxed, like chill Yokida state. And then I have like glams for other things. They're similar, like for like crafting, gathering, and all that kind of stuff. So I wish you could tie hairstyles to that, because the way Yokida would wear her hair during MSQ would be far different from when she's just relaxing. But that's just like my RP heart singing again. Same with some like makeup things. If you could save like makeup to a glam plate as well. And the weapons, okay. So a couple things with the weapons. If we're doing this outfit tying system where it's like the pieces all tied together to like an outfit collection, I would wish for them to tie the weapons into that as well. I don't like that the weapons are separate. But also I would like it that for the glam plate, I wish you could tie like multiple weapons to a glam plate. Like maybe have it like you can tie like, 3 to 5 weapons to a glam plate. So that way if I'm toggling between like my set jobs, the weapon's going to change to complement that. That's all. That's all. Oh, we're about to go in for an ad, so I will BRB for a second, drink more water, and then we'll pick up from that once we're back. BRB. I'm back. Let me put the music back on. Is that too loud? No, it should be fine. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing Final Fantasy VIII today. My voice is already giving out. I still have another bingo sheet to go through. But the other one will be much faster than this one. That's why I want to do this one first. This one's a lot more talking heavy. Next one. Do we have a good compliment for it? I guess this one's a nice and easy one. It'll be N5. So I couldn't really find, like, I couldn't take a picture of what it looks like here. I'm sorry, Yoshi P, if you are watching this. I don't know why, but hey, big fan. Don't ban me from what I'm about to say. There's a mod. There's a mod I like to use where if it's down, I'm sad. It's the only mod I'm sad about when it's down, and I wish it would be added to the game proper so I don't have to be illegal and risk being put in jail. And I think it's called Pixel Perfect. Basically, it puts like a little crosshair hatch on the screen of where your Warrior of Light's pixel takes place, because your Warrior of Light, like the whole model itself, for combat stuff, you only actually take up like a pixel on the screen. That's it. So this kind of highlights where you are on the screen, like through just like this little cross hatch. It's like a tiny little thing, like a little cross. It's fantastic because there's a lot of shit that goes on, and because of just the way my brain works, I get really overstimulated by everything that's happening on the screen. So I lose track of where my model is very, very quickly. So this helps me kind of maintain line of sight with my character when things are going on. And this is even with like limited animations that from other party members. I still have a hard time kind of keeping track of where I'm at. So this helps me kind of not grief everyone. And I think it's a perfect accessibility thing to add into the game. So you should add it, Yoshi P, because you're watching this for some reason. You should add it. Thank you. Next, do we have any other easy ones? We're actually going to run out a little bit. We have like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see here. We'll do I4 next. Where's I4? Oh yeah. Yeah, I4. So this is my request for a level sync rework. So when you're doing content, like if you're fully level, like right now it's level 100 is the highest level, and you do older content either through like Duty Finder or other things, it'll sync you down to like that level cap, right? The issue is that it's still even when it brings you down, because your toolkit now is so different. Even when let me try this again. I'm trying to get talked out. When they sync you down, you get access to the jobs that you would have access to at that level. However, one of the issues is that obviously as expansions have come out, your toolkit has drastically changed over the years. And for some jobs, it's very sparse in terms of like what you would have at those levels. But then also your damage output is way different now than it was back then, even at that same level. So certain things become an absolute joke. And I feel bad for anyone who's either going through New Game Plus, like myself. I like to go through New Game Plus sometimes. I like to write out like, I'm a dork. I know. I have a lore document that I'm working on for my Warrior of Light. So I like to do that kind of stuff. But also for Sprouts, and I love to watch other people play the game for the first time, I feel like unless they're with a group that's specifically holding back DPS in key moments, that they miss the emotional depth of those moments because things are going by so fast. So a big issue, at least the time last time I saw it, it might have changed now, but one of the big issues is the final boss of Base Endwalker. Unless you have a party that's holding DPS, you're going to fly right through that second phase of that fight. And just kind of miss, not like key dialogue or anything like that, but just kind of, you don't get enough time to actually like enjoy or like take in what's going on in that game because it ends so fast. Another one being, and I know it's kind of intended to be this because it's supposed to be a bit of a pushover, but the end of Heavensward, the final boss there, that boss melts so fast. One of the elements I really love from that fight is that the second phase of that fight, or third phase, the final phase of that fight, basically, is that boss has exhausted everything they have to try to kill you, and now they're kind of flailing because they're desperate. They're going to lose because they've done everything they possibly can, and you're still standing. My issue is that because that phase goes by so fast, you can't even see the animation of that character like flailing their sword about trying to attack you, and the comments they make about like, you know, what's going on, how are you still standing? All of that is lost because that phase is done within seconds. So I think that's a disservice in terms on just like a narrative scale. I think that's a disservice, and I think that needs to be reworked. But just in general, I think level sync and just like job toolkits in general need to be reworked just to make them more interesting at all levels. Especially these newer jobs where you unlock them at like level 70, 80, 90. All of their toolkits, like all of their moves you be unlocking them and kind of like learning them at those levels. When you're going back, like they just scale differently, and it's not balanced at all. And especially when you're so like focused on balance with this 2-minute meta bullshit. Like, why can't you make the game more enjoyable at all levels when people are going through it for the first time, or going back to older content to help out other people? Like, just, you know, make it more a well-rounded experience. That's my wish. Next, we will do B3, and that is the roulette rework. Whee! I wish they would add more roulettes. One, I want to rework okay, so there's 3 key ones I would like to see changed or added. 1, PvP. For the love of God, put in a roulette for rival wings. I hate that I have to wait until the Mog Tome events for rival wings to have any kind of population to them because they drop like Mog Tomes. I love rival wings. Why does rival wings only have 1 map, and why is it not in the roulette? When it's on the roulette, no one's going to touch it. No one plays it. The only reason why Frontlines is as popping as it is because it has its own roulette and the maps change daily and all that kind of stuff. For the love of God, put in rival wings into the PvP. Please. Even if you just make it a singular PvP roulette and it just toggles between Frontlines and rival wings, I'm okay with that. But just put it there. Just have more. Like, that content's basically dead. I hate that if I want to do that content, I have to join. I either have to wait for the Mog Tome event for a population to be there, or I have to join like a Discord server to play with other people. And I just hate any content that requires me to go to a Discord server to play it. I'm trying to avoid that kind of discussion, but like, you know, like things like Fork Tower and Baldacine Arsenal and God, what was it called? DRS? No, yeah, DRS? Yeah, the Liberum Reginae Savage, like all that kind of stuff. I hate that I have to join like a Discord server just to do that content. But I digress. That's completely off topic. Rival Wings, make it a roulette for the love of God, so I can play it more often with other people and not have to wait hours on end to join a party. Other roulette I think it would be fantastic to add is, now that we have quite a few of them, is a variant dungeon. Please put a variant dungeon roulette. I feel like you can adjust it to you only do the path that the NPC selects for the party. That's fine. Just to have it more of like a streamlined event. But still, it would be cool to just go in there with random people and do that as like a daily thing. That way, you know, you're getting like your daily tomes, whatever, but you're also getting like a little bit more of the currency that the variant dungeons have. And I feel like it would get more people into it as well. I love variant dungeons. They're one of my favorite new pieces of content that were added during Endwalker time. So any more excuse to do variant dungeons, get people to do it with me in a more seamless way, I'm down for. Next would be, I wish, okay, don't give me the number meta reason for it. I don't care. I hate that the expert roulette is just the last 2 dungeons, like of the patches available. Like, for the love of God, have all of the dungeons level, like right now we're level 100. Have the all level 100 dungeons available in expert roulette. So I'm not just doing the same 2 dungeons, especially when they keep stretching out the patch like cycles. Like, we're at like what each patch is at like 4 or 5 months. I don't want to do the same 2 dungeons every day on expert roulette for 5 months. Like, no, just open it up to all the dungeons. That way there's some fucking variety there. The toolkit's all the same anyway, so why does it matter? I think they tie it to like your eye level caps, whatever. But I'm like, stupid. No, just open it up anyway. Like, stop. But I think that's it. Oh, and I also wish they would have another daily roulette where it's just like a capstone one, where it's just the like the level, or I guess they already have that with the 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 roulette. Basically, it's kind of one, like, you can have like your old capstones, like your 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 dungeons, but the 100 dungeons, I feel like all of those should just be expert roulette. Because I just think having a dungeon that's just 2 things is silly. Like, it's only okay with main scenario roulette because of the way those 2 dungeons work. They're a bit more cutscene focused. Like, it makes sense that they would have their own separate thing with higher like yield rate of like XP or whatever, but like, it doesn't make sense for the capstone dungeons for the current expansion being just 2 dungeons. Like, it's just dumb. It gets very boring very quickly. Next, we will do G2. Okay, G2. I think this is a bit of a 2-parter with another thing I'm going to talk about like a little bit later. But I wish exploration zones, so things like Diadem, what Diadem like used to be, Eureka, Baja, and now Cult Crescent. I wish they weren't instance zones. I wish they were actually in the open world. One, I feel like it just provides a lot more life to the maps themselves, because there's nothing really going on there, save for when people are doing the occasional like hunts or map parties or like fate grinds. No one's really out there for any particular reason. So I think it would be like, especially since like a lot more people do when they're good, the exploration content, like it adds just so much more life to the maps. And I want more reason to be out there. And it's just, it gives more like lore and just more depth to those locations. I don't know. I think it would be better. I think it's worth at least trying. I may be wrong, but you know what? Just try it. Just one time. Just try it. I think it would be pretty interesting. It'd be even cooler if you did that like within like whatever map it is, like say I'm trying to think of the maps that we went to in Dawn Trail. We can still like unlock the different locations. Like maybe an additional map would just like fully unlock once we've done that. And I feel like that would be a cool bonus for like the players doing the exploration zone. But then it adds just more to it for people who aren't doing that. Like they can access it still too if they want. I just think it would be cool just to have players kind of work towards unlocking things for everyone, like for the entire player base. I love seeing things like change over time on the maps. Like I love when they did that with Alisaie. I love when they did that with parts of Ishgard and Ishgard Restoration era, and with with the Doman Enclave, like things like that. So I think it'd be cool to do that with more of the maps, like actual maps themselves, and not just like the city areas. Also, thank you so much, Saribot. Good bot. On that topic, though, might as well talk about it now. The people are gonna get mad at me when I bring this up. I swear. So this is gonna be I5. Yoshi P. Big fan. I'm about to say words that you're going to hate me saying. Please don't run away, and please don't like hate me or ban me. So when I do a lot of my research into old content that previous patches or expansions had, there's one piece of content that I found very interesting in 1.0. So the tail end of 1.0, they had these things called Hamlet Defense, where basically, I believe it was like a 25-hour like schedule at the time, and they would change. But basically, you had crafters, gatherers, and combat classes working together for these locations. They're trying to like protect these like locations from the onslaught of monsters like taking over the area. I think it would be really, really, really cool if we brought back that element of crafters, gatherers, and combat classes working together on something, and basically having that for like kind of combining the restoration projects or the craft, like the restoration projects and the exploration projects into a singular thing of taking back a location, fixing it up, or like taking back the location. So like the combat classes go out and clear out all these different monsters. And then the crafters and gatherers, the crafters and gatherers come in after and do their thing after to restore the area. So like, for example, just doesn't have to be this specific thing, but I just think it'd be really cool if like, say, for example, we're trying to take back the 13th and restore it. Sorry, I can hear my husband talking in the other room. Okay, let me try this again. Sorry, I need another drink of water. I'm getting distracted and getting tired. Okay, so for example, say that there's the 13th. We're trying to restore a location to make it more habitable for everyone else in the area. The combat classes go in and clear out the monsters. I believe Notorious monsters were actually in that location for the Hamlet defense. So bring them back like NMs to the restoration. Combat clears out all of that. Once the combat is done, so there's like a timer, and we can still do like the thing that they do now with things where there's like a timed fate. So having a general thing of like, okay, you have a few days or a week of combat classes clearing out a whole bunch of different monsters, culminating in a big NM fate fight of taking out like the boss of that area, of that location. And then once that is done, then the gatherers come in and they start gathering resources from those areas, like chopping some trees, gathering some rocks, some plants, whatever, hemp, anything like that. They bring that back and they feed that to the crafters, like how they did in Ishgard Restoration, where there was a very distinct relationship between the crafters and gatherers again. Have the gatherers feed stuff to the crafters, and the crafters are building shit up. And then that can culminate in a similar thing to do with cosmic exploration and with Ishgard Restoration, where you then actually restore that. So either we're building up buildings, we're terraforming the world, we're doing what have you to make this area like a new location now. So this new location can be like just a settlement for like the locals to settle in, or it could be like something like, I don't know. You could do housing again, like Ishgard Restoration had it, like it resulted in housing at the end, or just something like, I just think it'd be really cool. One, it brings back that MMO, like massive multiplayer online part of it where everyone's working together. I like the idea that it's taking basically every aspect of players to join in. So you have your combat classes doing stuff, then you have your gatherers and your crafters doing stuff. I like that there's like a direct like relationship between like all three parties. Or all three like factions or play styles like going in with each other. It's adding to the world, especially a world that we're familiar with and we want to help. Like that would also be really cool. It doesn't have to be the 13th. That's just an example I came up with. But like I would, ever since I've seen this mentioned in, I think it was the Speakers of Hydaelyn documentary. I think they're the ones who mentioned it. I've always been transfixed by this idea. We got like a similar kind of combat crafter and gatherer all hanging out in the same location with old school Diadem, like before it was remade into Ishgard Restoration, where you could have, like, I remember going there and I swapped between Bard and Botanist and Weaver, like doing a whole bunch of different stuff. But that was just like me doing like whatever. I would love it if I could, especially since I do all three, like I would love to be able to just kind of like switch between everything like on the fly or to doing like whatever the schedule is or however they do it. This is this is the big form content that I would love most to see. Technically speaking, it is a bring it back kind of request, but it's a 1.0 thing. Like what, 90% of the players, 95% of the players have never weren't around for 1.0, like current players. So like, and it isn't like 1.0 itself. If you don't do the 1.0 jank, I just think it'd be really cool to bring back. And I think it'd be really cool to combine that with my request for opening up exploration content to not be like instanced and it being like an open world thing. I feel like those put together would just bring so much life into things. But that's just my idea. That's just what I think it would be cool. Next, let's see here. We are done all of the 5, so I can actually close out all of 5. Yeah, I guess we just go through and just close out the rest. Which one should we do next? We should do... Which ones do I have left? I guess is the better question. Let me see here. We have that. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'll save this one for last. We will do... Okay, we'll do this one first, so that one's really silly. This is a stupid hang up on my end. Similar to how I want an allied tribe quest to just clean up things for Shadowbringers. This is a picture of like a fish tank. They stopped introducing backgrounds for fish tanks in aquariums back in like Shadowbringers era. And I think they stopped at the worst point. So the last one they updated, the last one they added in was the background for the fight of Tsukiyomi. And I really want them to have a background for Amarot. Like, why isn't that an option? It's perfect. It's an underwater location, like in my aquarium. That's it. Like, if you're not going to bring back just fish tank backgrounds in general, can you just at least add one for Amarot? It would make me happy. I would use it. That's it. I know, silly question. I know, or silly request, whatever, but I want it. Next is, was that 4? Oh, right. Okay. And 4. This is kind of like a combined-ish thing. It was initially, basically, the picture is supposed to represent is just, I want job quests back. I know that's a big ask. There's a lot of jobs. But again, I think job quests added a lot of lore to jobs themselves and to the world at large. And at least for me, like I feel the absence to that to a high degree ever since they discontinued those. And I feel like a lot of the newer jobs really suffer from having a lack of job quests. Like they only have like the 10 levels of when that job is introduced, versus like other jobs having like, 60 to 70 levels worth of job quests before they discontinued them. I need to skip the song because it's going to make me cry. 1 second. Okay, that one's fine. But yeah, add them in. If we have to give up role quests, I'm okay with that. And it doesn't, and I know they're like, oh, it takes so much time and effort. I know, I'm not arguing that. I think one of the things people are always saying, like, oh, but then, like, not all of the job quests were good. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have to be good. I would like it to be good, but, like, I know not all of them were bangers. I still appreciate them existing. And on that line of thought is that I really do miss the trial series quests. So before Endwalker, there was a complimentary like quest line that was available once you completed the base expansion. So for example, Shadowbringers, you had for the post patch, you had the MSQ quest line, and then you had the trial quest line. The MSQ quest line, went from trying to get people back to the source, and the trial quest line was the Wurlet series, like the weapon series. And one of the things is like, yeah, it just adds a lot of extra information, gives attention to some side characters that you would only see like little bits of in the MSQ, and it helps like explore their like who they are and like what decisions they make and why they made them, but also and like resolve their character arc. But it also gave opportunity for the MSQ to not be stuck at, okay, we need to have a dungeon or a trial every single patch. And I feel like now that they're stuck in that route because the trial series no longer exists, I feel like the story suffers a little bit. Because I feel like there's some times in these post MSQ things in Endwalker and Dawn Trail where I'm like, ugh. Like it feels like we're not doing this trial because the story calls for it. I feel like we're just doing this to check a box off the list again to be like, okay, we need to require these things. Versus if it didn't call for it, that MSQ just wouldn't have a trial. And if you wanted a trial, and this is how I fell into trial things, I was like, oh, it's really weird that, patch, what was it, like 5.2 or 5.1 doesn't have a trial. And they're like, oh yeah, it's because Wurlit's trial, Wurlit has a trial this patch. I'm like, oh, okay, so let me go try out that. And I fell into these other sides of content. I learned so much more things about Wurlit. It complemented things with like Baja pretty well. They should bring it back. I know why they cut it. I think it's dumb, and I think they should bring it back. I think the game suffers from a lack of job quests just on like the lower level of like lore exploration, and at a higher level, which is the way that the patch cycle fundamentally works now with the trial series. And I think they need to bring those things back just to allow the MSQ to actually breathe and explore their stories without being focused on having to spotlight a dungeon and trial combo in every single patch. I think this is my last one's next week. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. This is B2. So, B2, the picture itself is silly. It's just a horizon. But what I would like is, this is probably my biggest ask in terms of the quality of gameplay, just like the long form health of the game is, and I know it's something that a lot of people are requesting too, is more horizontal progression. So the way I understand it is that right now we have a lot of vertical progression, but not horizontal. Vertical being like, right now you're very much funneled into a certain gameplay loop if you want to do this thing. So if you want to have better gear, you must do Savage content. Like if you want to have the best gear in the whole game, you need to do that. If you want to have the best like crafting gear, you have to do cosmic exploration, things like that. And then on the gear wise, but just like leveling wise, if you want to level your job, you have to either do roulettes or you have to do deep dungeon. But in a couple of years ago, because there was no deep dungeon, they let you level up in Baja. I think that funneling people into one specific content is actually damaging the overall health of the game. And I think we would benefit from people having more options. At least the way I play is I like to have a lot of different options. I like to dabble a little bit just because it keeps the game more fresh for me and like less like repetitive and like stale. So for like leveling, for example, I have a lot of jobs I still need to level. I just don't like to do that because I just don't want to do roulettes all the time. Right now, I think the option for leveling your job is that you can do variant dungeon, which is, or no, can you not do variant dungeon? I can't remember if you can do that right now. That one I might be wrong on, sorry. But you might be able to do variant dungeon. I know you can do deep dungeon, and I know you can do the roulettes. I think for the best optimal one is to have as many options as possible. So you can have the roulettes, the daily roulettes, variant dungeon, deep dungeon, and Occult Crescent, the exploration content. I actually have quite a few friends that were interested in doing Occult Crescent until they realized that they couldn't actually level their job like they could in Baja. And then they immediately checked out. And I think it's a really big missed opportunity to not have that option there. I know for myself, if I had the option, I know I'd probably do like a couple hours in the Cult Crescent leveling my job there. And then I do some roulettes with my friends. And then I would do a deep dungeon with a different friend or by myself. And then so on. Like I like to hop around when I'm doing content. And I wish the gameplay loop would allow for that. Additionally, I feel like that would also make it friendlier for people who have multiple jobs or multiple characters, like multiple alts. Especially with this game, it focuses so much on you having, like you're like, oh, you can do all of your jobs on one character. It's not really a thing right now, because right now, if you want to have the best gear, you have to do Savage rating. But you have a weekly lockout. And because that weekly lockout, it can take upwards of like 8 weeks to get, and that's if you're lucky. If you're lucky and you get every single piece every single week that you need, it can take upwards of like 8 to whatever weeks for you to get every piece of gear that you need for a singular job. Now do this over and over again with all the other jobs. And if you get your gear for that week, because of the way that the parties work, is that if you were to go back in with another job, very likely anyone else who hasn't gotten their gear yet doesn't want to play with you, because then you are lowering how much gear is given at the end of like that completion. So having ways to rework how gear is presented to people, as well as giving options to have gear and other content, especially since the way they're drip feeding content right now, I feel like you can easily have it where you can get BIS gear and things like the higher variant dungeon levels, or deep dungeon, or a Cult Crescent, or Alliance raid, like all these other things. You can get that BIS gear because it is given to you months after the fact, not even weeks, months after the fact. So the people who are hardcore and they want their gear right away because they're trying to prep for Ultimate, they have their gear now. It gives opportunity for other people to also explore other content, to get gear from content that they're comfortable with, and also just be able to gear other jobs. Because right now, a lot of people are just kind of locked into that role or that job. Like I personally, I'm Bard, and I just like to stay as Bard. But I know my husband, he's predominantly healer, but he does healing, he does DPS, he does tank, but he needs to use ults to gear all those other things. He would like to be able to do it all in like a singular character, but that's just not feasible with the way the game is set up. And I feel like that's counterintuitive with how this game sells itself, with being you can do everything on a singular job. Technically speaking, sure, but it won't be fun because of all the limitations they have in store or have in place. So I feel like just opening up the game for more horizontal progression and expression would significantly help the overall health of the game and the gameplay loop. That's my opinion. That's my bingo. That's my hopes and dreams. I want to do this one first because this one's a lot more talking heavy, because I feel like I have to explain everything. Like everything takes like 20 minutes for me to explain for like these bigger ones. But also I feel like this better gets across things about the game that I like without me being super negative about it. Like, yeah, sure. I feel like I don't think I was being negative. I feel like I'm just like criticizing the game, and I feel like criticism is important to the game's long-term health. So I don't feel like I was being too overbearing. And if I was, whatever. I don't care. Leave me alone. But yeah, that's that one. I have one more. I have another. I have another bingo list. Okay. So in 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks from now, will be the first Fanfest. I don't know why you'd be watching me right now if you don't want to know what this is, but just to catch you up. Final Fantasy XIV is an MMORPG, critically acclaimed, has a free trial. Check it out. Thank you. I just drank water, but I'll drink more. My voice is fucking going. Okay. So, Final Fantasy XIV has a very, I mean, we shall see. We shall see. I have my own opinions on it, but we shall see. Final Fantasy XIV is an MMORPG. It has the base game of A Realm Reborn that came out like 13 years ago-ish. And then used to be every 2 years. Now it's about every 2.5 to 3 years. There is a new expansion to that story. Now, in between those expansions, there are post patches that will wrap up the one expansion that you just finished and lead you into the new expansion. For the most part, there has been certain exemptions to that rule, but generally that's how it goes. While you're in the post patches, near the tail end of the post patch, Final Fantasy 14 devs, Square Enix will host what is called a Fanfest or fan festival, where basically it's just like, it's like what do you call it? Like a convention for Final Fantasy 14 players, and they showcase new information. So they'll actually show like the new trailer, what it's called, what the new jobs are, what and the other new content or like the new hotness will be for the next upcoming expansion. So right now we have Dawn Trail. Dawn Trail came out in summer of 2024, almost 2 years ago. We're currently on the cusp of going into patch 7.5. The post patches are usually 5 post patches. You'll have the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and you have sub patches underneath that too. So like 0.12, 0.13, 0.14, 0.15, like things like that. Like that's how it usually goes. So right now we're currently at 7.45 going into 7.5. So this is the time where they do the FanFest. There's 3 of them. There's one in North America. There's one in Europe that's usually, I think it's always in Germany, but I don't know that for sure. I just know the last couple at least were in Germany. And then the third one's in Japan. I believe it's in Tokyo, but don't quote me on that. America is always first. And I think from what people have said before that Japan was usually second and then Europe was usually third. But then they reversed it in the last couple expansions. So it's been like Germany going second and then Japan ending it. So that's usually how it works. The first one, it comes up in a couple of weeks, like just under 2 weeks from now. It'll be on the Friday, the Friday and the Saturday, which is the 24th and the 25th. So for that, I made a bingo. I will say I'm using this bingo for all the FanFests, mostly because it's really hard to make a bingo just for a singular FanFest because they do drip feed the information that they give out. So like usually with the North American one, we get the title drop. We get like a 30-second teaser of the trailer. We don't usually get job announcements or anything like that, but we do get sometimes like a big crossover announcement, maybe a couple other things here and there. And then in Germany, we get like a bit more. And then in Japan, they try to flush out as much as like whatever's remaining of what to expect for the expansion. So you will see this again in July. I believe the Germany one is in July, and I think it's late October, early November for Japan. So we will use this for all 3. But I want to show it off now. I don't know. My original goal was to stream like a reaction, like watch together of the FanFest, but I got fucked up. I thought the first day of the FanFest was on a Saturday. It's not. It's on a Friday, and they have the announcements like in the morning of that day. I think it would be like afternoon my time, and I'm working, so like I don't think it will be feasible for me to be streaming unless I figure something out, but I don't know. So I think no matter what, I would do a viewing party. I would just have to do like a post one, like how I did the Nintendo Switch one where I had to do it after work. I just don't know how I'd be able to get through the entire work day without getting spoiled, because a lot of my friends play 14 and I'm on the internet all the time and I predominantly read about 14 stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I do want to watch it with people, even if people don't really play 14 on like my community, but I would still like to do it here. Anyway, bingo card. Same thing. If you want me to pick a specific spot to go off of first, you put that in the chat, or there's the channel redeem as well to pick a spot. If not, I'm just going to kind of pick them at random because I thought that would be more interesting to do rather than just being like, hey, here's a complete bingo list and blah, blah, blah. And just doing like, at least for me, I feel like that's just like overstimulation, overkill. I tried to be relatively positive about this. I did allow myself to have a singular doomer option just to cover my bases. These are things I think may happen. Some things I would like to happen, but I'm trying to be a bit more tempered in, like, I'm tempering my expectations a bit more and being a bit more realistic with my guesses. I like to think anyway. One thing to highlight, I guess, nice and easy, is that the 4 corners are job guesses. I don't think we're gonna get 4 jobs. I try to keep it kind of open with the jobs, just to vary it. I guess I'll start there first, unless people have another opinion. But what I think with the jobs is I think going off of the usual patterns is that we're probably getting a tank job and a range DPS job. Now, keep in mind, again, I only have 7 and a bit Final Fantasies under my belt right now. I'm only in the beginning parts of 8. And I know that at least for the last few expansions, 14 tends to go off of jobs that reflect a big character from a previous numbered Final Fantasy game. And I just don't know. So sometimes it's just made up. I don't even know if they exist as a job itself in previous Final Fantasy games. I just it would be cool if we had this kind of thing. But we'll start with B1, just be nice and easy. Familiar, hi again. Mystic Knight. I really want Mystic Knight. I think it would be cool to have Mystic Knight. It's been mentioned. Has it been mentioned a couple times? Yes, it got mentioned in Occult Crescent. I know they stressed that Occult Crescent wasn't a guarantee of jobs being added, but it also was not a guarantee that jobs weren't going to be added. So they say it was a pile of jobs that they workshopped and jobs that they gave up. I think Mystic Knight could be feasible. Mystic Knight would probably work best as a tank, but it can be used for other things. I don't mind, but I think it'd be really cool if Mystic Knight was in there. It's the singular job I want. Yeah, I'm and I'm giving myself the point, regardless, of any of these job guesses, if it's the gist of my guess, I'm giving myself that. So if I say Mystic Knight and it ends up being Rune Knight or Rune Fencer or whatever, I'm still giving myself that point. Because I still think that fucking counts because it's the same idea is there. But yeah, Rune Knight, Mystic Knight, let's go. I want it so bad. It's the singular job I want so bad. I guess we'll just stick with jobs for the time being. We'll go with O1. I keep hitting the wrong box. There we go. O1 is Geomancer. This is Geomancer as reflected in Final Fantasy XI. I think both of these artworks are from Final Fantasy XI. I know this one's probably not likely to come here at all, but I think it'd be really cool if it did because one, I just like the in Final Fantasy V, I like the little jammies that Geomancer wears. I think that's really cute. But then I was looking at the Final Fantasy XI outfits for Geomancer. I thought that was really cute. So just on a vibe, on a glam level, it's cool. The weapon is a bell, which I think is also neat. I know it's not super feasible because I know a lot of Geomancer's expressions were taken were used up a lot in Astrologian. But you know what? Astrologian gets reworked every expansion anyway. So just rework Astrologian for the billionth time and then give us Geomancer. That would be cool. But it's not a huge want. My big want is Mystic Knight. The other ones are just bonuses. Next one would be, let me just close this out. Would be, I had 5 completely closed. This isn't a necessary it's not necessarily a known job, and we've technically had this weapon before. I just want a job purely based around this weapon is some kind of polearm or battle staff. I couldn't really find a character, and I don't really know of the characters that I've played thus far, in the first 8 Final Fantasies I've played. There hasn't been one that's necessarily a polearm battle staff character. The closest I could find with that was Aerith from Final Fantasy VII Remake, where she twirls around a pole staff. Or I think for her it's just a staff. But I like that a lot. Partially I'm a little biased because Yokida not as the Warrior of Light, but Yokida as the VTuber, I do actually have a canon weapon. I just haven't shown it off to you guys, and it is a battle staff. So it'd be really cool just if I ever were to make a character based off of my VTuber that I would have the weapon of some sorts, canonically within the game itself. And I just like anytime I see combat in like anime or TV or whatever, I love the style of like a polearm or battle staff. So I think it'd be really cool to add there. I know we've had a couple of those in like the Lancer quest lines. There were a couple of those weapons, but I just wish we had like a full job to explore that. But yeah. Next would be 05. Okay, so I struggled a lot with this because I want something specifically to highlight Fizz range. But I literally couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything that wasn't just more guns. And I know, technically speaking, they could do like maybe like a dual gun, dual pistol, or even like a crossbow thing if they reworked Machinist to be more back to what its initial goal was, which it was like some kind of tinkerer inventor kind of deal. I know a lot of people are pulling for Blitzball. That's from Final Fantasy X. I haven't reached there yet. I still don't really know what Blitzball is. And from what my husband described it to me, he said it's basically soccer underwater. So it'd be like the equivalent of having just a soccer player as a job, and like that's silly. So I want for something a bit more serious. So, and this is character based. Technically, was from Final Fantasy VI, which was Setzer with like a gambler job. Now I'm thinking more like Gambit, where you like throw like magic cards at people, but like just having, I don't know. This my limited research could yield to me, and I feel like this could be something that could be worked with. The other thing I thought for Fizz range would have been Chemist. We're like throwing like vials, but I think I read somewhere that they've tried Chemist a couple different times, but it just didn't work out. So like Chemist, at one point they worked on it, and then they just turned it to Astrologian later in Heavensward. And then when they worked on Chemist again, it just became Sage and Endwalker. So maybe Chemist is just like a dead end. So I'm going with Gambler. I don't know. Could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know, fam. But I can see it happening. Let me see here. Next, let's do like a small square. Or small cross. Let's go with what is this? This is 2N2. Oh, this actually works out really well. N2. I put Alisaie there. Okay, so I don't want the Scions, specifically the twins, with us in the next expansion. I think a lot of the Scions being there in Dawntrail harms the story because there's nothing really for them to do, especially the twins, because we kind of resolved their story. There wasn't really an opportunity to explore other stories. I'm not saying that once a story, like a character's story, is concluded, that there's no way to go back to them and do more things. I'm just saying right now, with the way things are, there's nothing for them to do right now. Give them a break. However, if any Scion were to get a new job, I think it would be Alisaie. I feel like all the other Scions are pretty content with what they have. Like Alphino just got like his new job in Sage and Endwalker. Most of the other Scions all got their new jobs in Shadowbringers. I'm so sorry, Estinian. You are never allowed to have a new job. Like, you are forever Dragoon. You can't change. I'm sorry. You're stuck in Dragoon jail. But I feel like Alisaie, both as a character and just like, I guess mostly just as a character. I'm misspeaking right now. But like as a character herself, I feel like she would want to change it up a little bit. She's always eager to learn more things. I also think that if Mystic Knight was added, it would be a natural progression for Alisaie. Shifting away from when she's first like an Arcanist, or what was like Academian, I think it was originally what she was, where she was more support, to now she's a red mage, where it's kind of like this dual support and attack, and then going to Mystic Knight, which is like a full like attack, or like full like combat kind of thing. I think Callie. Sorry. I think it's an easy progression for her character to take, and I think she would probably easily be able to show off Mystic Knight. Like it would suit her character really well. I would still be a little grumpy if I'm right on this aspect because I don't really want the twins to be heavily spotlighted. I think we need a bit of a break for them, just let their characters breathe. Also, I think if given some time, maybe give them some like a character remodel of letting them finally age up. But that's just my opinion. Next, what if we're going with the other square? It would be I3. What's I3 again? I3 is I think we're gonna get a character create overhaul. I think the devs have been heavily hinting this for a while now. I don't think, like, when I say overhaul, I don't think it's gonna be as deep as what people are hoping it to be. I think it's just gonna be some extra sliders and extra face like selections. And if anything, to make me happy would be extra hair colors. Like, there's some really vibrant hair colors you can see in some of the characters in post-patch Dawn Trail. So it would be nice for that to be an option here. Again, I wouldn't really change it because I'm happy with my character design, but I think that's what really they're going to do. I think it's just going to be some extra sliders and some extra presets. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. If it is, awesome. I'm just I don't even think that's me being doomer. I think that's just it's just a realistic thing to guess. For me anyway. But yeah, that's it for that one. Next would be, what is this? This would be 4N and 4. Oh, it's the other overhaul. They keep saying it. I know they mentioned this before during the Dawn Trail. I know they did mention this during the Dawn Trail Fanfest and the Dawn Trail media tour, but that they were focusing on combat overhaul in Dawn Trail itself and then a job overhaul in 8.0. Now they did clean up the combat, so it's a bit more fun in sorry, I'm getting really tired. I'm starting to crash now. They did clean up the combat quite a bit in Dawn Trail, so it was a marked improvement. So, you know, I'm a little optimistic about what this so-called potential job overhaul is. I don't think it's going to be as in-depth as people are hoping it to be, me included. Like, I really hope for like a big overhaul. I had in the new year, they announced the dates for the FanFest, and a lot of people freaked out because basically it showed that we would just have a singular patch this year of 7.5 and that we wouldn't get 8.0 until like spring or summer of 2027. Yoshi B soon after came out and said that no, that actually 8.0 will come out very soon after the final FanFest, which is in Japan in October, November. So people are assuming that, you know, between like December to February, we'll probably get the patch or the new expansion. If that's the case, I don't think there is enough time to do like as much of a job overhaul as people are looking for. I'd have a bit more optimism to that potentially being a thing if it was longer, if they were taking the extra time and delaying the expansion. Not that I want them to delay the expansion, it's just something has to give, right? Like, if you want the expansion faster, we're not going to get much of an overhaul people are hoping for. Versus if it took longer, there's a slight chance that we would get more of an overhaul. But even then, I still don't think it's going to be as in-depth as people are hoping it to be. Like, I feel like the 2-minute meta is still going to be there. I feel like, I mean, we'll talk about later after about how I think some of the jobs will be impacted. But like, I know like a lot of like healers are crying out for more to do, either to have healing be more challenging, or if healing is going to be the way it is, where tanks are just self-healing themselves and other people, that at least you have more of a combat, higher combat expression, so you're not just doing glare the whole time. But I'm not optimistic that all our wishes will be granted with this job overhaul. Next. Let me see here. It would be G3. G3. Okay. Technically speaking, this isn't 8.0 stuff, which is why I say it's FanFest only. Basically 7.5 is supposed to contain the last ultimate for Dawn Trail, but the last live letter they had for, or like a direct or whatever for the upcoming patch, they said that they're actually going to hold off on announcing an ultimate until the Fanfest. I have a theory as to why, and I can't fully talk about this yet until we talk about like my other points, my other bingo piece. But I think it's going to be Ascian themed in some way or another. So it's either Ascians, it's the Ancients, or Unsundered. Callie, you can't be doing that right now. It's way too loud. The Ancients or Unsundered. It could be like a Shadowbringers Endwalker hybrid thing. I think it's going to be something like that. One, I think they're saving this for FanFest to announce because it is like a big thing, big selling point that, you know, it's the bad guys that we knew for the first like arch of the story. They I think was it Yoshi P that made a big show of it, like in a tweet or a post saying that they had recorded a lot of new dialogue for the Ultimate. So in my heart of hearts, I'm just like, oh, did you get Emmett Selk and Elizabeth? I love their voices so much. Like Elizabeth is like my favorite voice actor in the whole game. So it'd be great if we could hear more of him. And I feel like there's a lot to work with when it comes to it, even if it's just the Unsundered, if it's just like the OG3, there's a lot to work with that Ultimate. And I'll have to put a pin on this for now because there is more to my reasoning for it to be a FanFest only announcement and not a live letter announcement. One, because it is a big thing. Ascians, they're cool. I know I'm biased because I love the Ascians, but in general, Ascians are like a fan favorite. So that'll get a lot of people's attention. They'll get a big reaction. But I think there's another reason why. So remind me later when we get here if I forget. But I will come back to this one. Next, how should we do this? I guess we'll do the other middle points now. I don't know. Is there any box anyone in particular wants me to pick first? I had a pattern before just to keep it kind of balanced, but now it's just like, I feel like any other pattern now throws it off balance. So now we can do the chaos. I guess, until people say anything. Rude. I didn't say throw things at me. Oh, there's an ad starting. BRB. We'll resume this in a moment. back. Whee! 1 second, the music disappeared again. Okay, there we go. Okay. As I was saying before, the next one, let me just clean up the stuff here. Okay. I think we're going with N5 next. I know Yoshipi's mentioned this quite a few times before about how he really wants like all the current consoles to have Final Fantasy 14 on it. They did Xbox back in, they did PS5 during Endwalker, they did Xbox during Dawn Trail. I really think they're gonna bring I feel like this is the time to bring it to Nintendo Switch 2. Especially since they have like the mouse controls now as well, and it's been pretty good at having the other consoles on there. It can definitely handle anything that's PS4 can handle, so I don't see why it wouldn't. I know that Square, and at least Yoshi P has been very vocal about it before, about how he really wants it on Nintendo. I know he originally wanted to have 14 on Nintendo Switch, so I could see Switch 2 being strong enough to handle the game. Like for me to be handy, even though I have my Steam Deck, but Switch 2 is a lot lighter. The Steam Deck is heavy, so I wouldn't mind playing it on that, or at least trying it out on Switch 2. And I can get my mom to play it. I know if she had it on Switch 2, I think she'd be more open to play 14. That's a selfish ask, but I don't know if I really play on Switch 2 very often, but I can see this happening. I can see them being like, this is a big announcement for them to push. You say never happening. I don't think so. I think it's inevitability for a Nintendo console to have the 14 playable on it. Let me see here. What next? We have, what's this one here? We'll do I2 next. So for some of these things here, I really struggled with trying to guess where content would be. So like if we're getting more exploration content, which I'm pretty certain we will be getting more of, I was trying to figure out like where it would take place, but I feel like that's really dependent as well of like where we're going with the story itself. But in lieu of knowing what's going to happen in the story, or even really what general direction they're going with, like I have my guesses, but I don't know for sure. I'm just gonna put down that we're going to Corvos. They've mentioned Corvos a few times. They mentioned it. I know that the Scions were in Corvos when we were on the first during Endwalker. And with the most recent Variant Dungeon, we also talked about Corvos, like through the lens of the book. And we have some notable characters also originally from Corvos, being Grahatia is originally from Corvos. So, and there's a lot of shit going on there. I just feel like we may not go there during an MSQ, and they save it for potentially side content. And any side content that would be serviceable would be through whatever the exploration battle content would be. I still would prefer what I talked about, my hopes and dreams checklist, bingo sheet. But if we're being real, being a bit more grounded, I could see it being Corvos. I know Corvos is like riddled with like upheaval and war and all that kind of stuff. So I think it would fit pretty well. Next. This one's silly. We'll do B2 next. This is just a stupid guess on my end. So B2, it's just a picture of a guitar. I have noticed since Soken's kind of taken the helm of music that sorry, my dog is fussing. Okay, she's slowing down again. That the music predominantly seems to be more like rock heavy, which I'm not against it. Believe me, I love it. I think that especially with some of the reception that Dawn Trail has had, that they might focus on this upcoming expansion as being like, okay, we've listened to you, we're changing things up. I don't think they'll be as explicit with that, but I think they're really going to be focusing on changing things up and like trying to approach things from a fresh state. And I think one of the ways they can get across that in like a subtle way is if the trailer doesn't spotlight any kind of rock influence in its music. I'm not hoping for a lack of rock. I just think that that's what's going to be the case. It was there in Shadowbringers. It was there in Endwalker. It was there in a lighter way in the Dawn Trail trailer. So I think, potentially, just as a silly guess, that rock won't really be there for the 8.0 trailer. Yeah. Or yeah, they'll go the other opposite way. It's gonna be power metal now. But I don't know. I just think that's gonna be, if they're going that direction, I feel like that's a way that they'll approach it, or to reinforce their stance for those who have the ear for it. Next. Guys, give me one. Which one do you want to see next? Please help me. I'm gonna drink another sip of water while I die. There's no F. It's bingo. B-I-N-G-O. Did you mean G4? G4? Okay. I mean, some of you have heard this one before. I am not weird. Y'all are just not old. G4 is just, we are going to get it. They've been hinting at this for a while here. I think we're going to get a bit of a Glamour overhaul. I don't think it's going to be as much as what I hoped for when I talked about my hopes and dreams one, but I think we are going to get some kind of overhaul. I know they've hinted at like a glam plate, either increase or change. I mean, as much as I'd be annoyed if that's all they did, I would still gladly take 50 more slots. We need more. Like, my glam dresser is always on the brink of being full. I'm constantly having to take things out of it. They've been changing things up steadily over time about how you like categorize your glam things between armoire and between the dresser. I wish that they would have some, maybe a combination, or just getting rid of the dresser and the armoire setup, but I don't know what they'll do. But I think it's one of those, it's a lock that at some point they're going to talk about the glam overhaul, or what they deem to be an overhaul. So it's just an easy lock. I have nothing else really to say about that. I just think it's something that we're definitely going to see. What next? What next? We shall go with I'm trying to keep the lines like a little balanced at least. We'll go with N1. Final Fantasy VII. I think we're going to get some kind of crossover event with Final Fantasy VII. I'm hoping it's not like a full content piece, like an Alliance raid or raid series or whatever. That's like, oh, everything's going to be like this thing, or the MSQ is all like 7. But I do think we're going to at least get some kind of timed side quest thing that's 7 related. I know Yoshimi had mentioned a few years back that he would be very open to doing a collaboration with Final Fantasy VII Remake once the remake once the remake trilogy is concluding, and part 1 and part 2 is out. Part 3, I think people are thinking it's coming out like next year. Next year is Final Fantasy VII's 30th anniversary, which makes me feel so old. Oh god, it makes me feel so old. But I think that's the perfect time to do a 7 one-off side quest. I mean, I will not be surprised if 7 is the whole expansion. I do have some guesses of where I think they'll draw from, but I refuse to play into that for this bingo here because I don't want to put it into reality. I hate how heavy-handed the ties to other expansions are nowadays with like the post-Endwalker and Dawn Trail as a whole. And I'm assuming it's probably going to continue with 8.0 and onwards. And I wish they wouldn't be so heavy-handed with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if 7 is now. If we're going that route, I'm thinking they're going to dabble in. I'm trying not to go into too much story, I think. I don't want to spoil. I know you two. I don't think you two are caught up in the story right now, so I don't want to spoil that for you. I think, without going into reasons why, story-wise, I could see them going really heavy into 5 or 7, maybe 6, and then the following one. At least from what I know of this game, I think they'll go into 10 on the next expansion or the expansion after. But yeah, no, 7's coming at some point. If 7's not coming this expansion, 7 coming in the next expansion. But I just refuse to play into that because I hate it. I hate that they do that. But at least we'll have some kind of crossover event. Yeah, no, for sure. I guess if we're talking about 10, I should do this one next. Where is it? It is... Where are you? Where are you? 02. Keep in mind, I haven't played Final Fantasy X. I don't know shit about it. I know the meme is everyone keeps screaming for Blitzball. My husband told me that Blitzball is basically soccer underwater. I'm like, okay. I know people want a job that's Blitzball. Other people want a Blitzball game. I would assume if there is, I know they mentioned before, Yoshi P and developers have mentioned that they want to do more, or they're intending on bringing more content to Gold Saucer. So I'm assuming one of the things they could bring into that is Blitzball as an activity to do. I'm assuming Blitzball is a team sport. If my husband said soccer, I don't know how feasible that would be. I'm picturing like Rocket League. But we're with the Warriors of Light and this ball of Blitz. I don't know. I'm putting it in there because I mean, I feel like a lot of like 14 players, especially the 14 Doomers, have this like ongoing semi-joke of like break glass in case of emergency. And I always said that the break glass in case of emergency that I had in my head was that if we had anything that's a Final Fantasy VII focused expansion, if Hrothgar and Vieira ever got hats, if glam restrictions were unlocked across jobs, because they always said before they would never do that because of like lore stuff, and if like Blitzball was added, because like people keep like begging for Blitzball. So if Blitzball's there, then I'm like, oh damn, they broke the other. They broke two cases, glass cases last like during Dawn Trail. They're gonna break another one during 8.0, and it's a silly one. It's a silly lighthearted one, but I still think it's true. So if we get that one, then we know, and people will be happy about it. I still wouldn't know what's going on, but I'll check it out. Let me see here. Is this the moment where I be a little Doomer? Do I get my singular Doomer redeem? My daily Doomer? I think so. Let's rip off the bandage for Doomer for a second. So I1 is my Doomer post. I was trying to think. If at the Fanfest they have to deliver some kind of bad news, but they try to spin it as a positive, what would it be? And what would like melt the 14 community on both ends? Like people trying to like toxic positivity their way out of it, and the other people who just further cement themselves into the Doomer ocean. And I think that would be a price increase. I could see them going, you know, with the reasoning of the way the economy is right now and everything's burning and AI just fucking everything to do with computers up like crazy, that they'll be like, hey, we need to increase the sub price, and the things that you want to do in this game here, we just can't afford it right now. We've told you before about how the budgets are really tight right now, that Square's not giving us enough money. So yeah, we just need more money. See, I was thinking about the AI stuff, but for me, the AI stuff would actually ruin the game for me. Like I wouldn't be able to play anymore. And I didn't want to doom that much. If I did that, I'm dooming too close to the sun. And I don't want to will that into reality. So I was like, okay, I know it's Square. I know, and they fucking love AI so much. I'm just trying to do things that I'm like, what is something that I could stomach that's still horrible, that would still piss me off to no end, but I could still swallow that bitter pill. And I can't swallow AI. I can swallow a price increase if it's not too extreme, because I'm bad with money, as we've seen many times on these streams. So, and also, I know they would try to paint AI as a positive. I feel like a lot of the 14 player base is so vehemently against AI that there is no hope to really turn this, to really reflect it as a positive, especially on this FanFest stage where it is supposed to be more like fan heavy. I could see them announcing AI later down the road, like through like a live letter, or there's just like a general post, or just not saying anything at all. And like the expansion comes out and people are like, hey, is this AI? They're like, oh yeah, no, it's totally AI. We've been using AI this entire time. It is full of glazers as well, but I feel like with AI, it's just different. I feel like they'd be a bit more coy about their AI usage. They wouldn't want to talk about it unless they were forced to talk about it. But price increase, you can't hide behind the price increase. Like AI, you could just like drop it. Because correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't played Rebirth, but I swear I think I read somewhere that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they used AI for some of the NPC voices, and they never announced that. They just added that into the game, and people found that after. And I could see them doing that for 14. Where they just like, yeah, we just did some AI here. Like, you know, Jonathan Bailey wasn't available to come back for Gahatia, and we couldn't get away with it. So we just, you know, AI'd his voice. Yeah. I don't know how legitimate that Rebirth thing was. I just remember seeing people talk about that, but I haven't played the game myself. But, yeah. Yeah, it's really long. But yeah, if we're having to pick poisons, I think this is the poison that's feasible to be announced, and they would try in vain to twist it into a positive light. I think they would try to be like, oh, we have to do this, but because of this, we can bring you so much more content that you've been asking for years. And I feel like they still won't deliver on that content that they're promising. But yeah, this is my singular doomer. I was allowed to have one doomer thing. Oh, what anime is that? Next, I guess we'll go with a Apothecary Diaries. I thought you watched that before. You started it again? And I'm eventually going to watch Apothecary Diaries. Eventually. It's on my to-do list. Some of it? Okay, gotcha. Next would be... let's do a B4? Let's B4. I5? You want me to do I5? I5's there, okay. Let me see here. I5. It's just... I had to put some guesses in there. I know there's a lot of speculation right now about what's going to be the new max level for the expansion because we're at 100 right now. So people are like, okay, are we going to stay at 100, but they're going to introduce a new leveling system? Are we going to go to 110? Are they going to completely, like how they did like a stat squish? Are they going to do a level squish and bring us back down to like 40 or 50? I also think we should stop at 100, but I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but when they were talking about Beastmaster and how it's leveled, because right now when Beastmaster gets released in a few weeks, it will be level 50. The way they made it phrase is that it will always increase in leveling. So I think that kind of basically confirmed that we're going to get to level 110 and those going to keep going up from there. Yeah. No, I was telling my husband about that, about the old job stats. It'd be cool if they brought those back. I remember doing those during Heaven's Word. But yeah, I think they're going to go up to 110. I had to guess something. And this one is like worth guessing because I know there's like a lot of debate right now because we're not sure where it's going to go from here. I know there's a lot of debate before about if we're going to get to 100 or 99 when Dawn Trail's coming out. So I think because they went to 100 before, they'll just keep going up to 110. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that's true, yeah. I vaguely remember that, but I just never touched Scholar because I was strictly a DPS person. Next, let's do... We'll do B4 because I'm just like, this is another one of my guesses where I'm like, okay, I need to guess this just to guess it, but my heart's not in it. It was just say I have to put a guess down. So I put Final Fantasy VI. It's for the raid series. I think the raid series, if it's going to be any specific Final Fantasy they follow, it might be 6 related. Specifically, it's hard to describe because it kind of ties into my MSQ, vague MSQ guesses. But I think there might be like a shard that will help like restore or rebalance or like help out during the MSQ. And that will leave it to... that shard will be reflective of the... I can't remember exactly what it is, but like where Terra is from. I think it's going to be like similar to that. And we're fighting some like other like primal-esque things, but they are also receptive to talking to us and helping us, and we help them. Like it's going to be a community of like primal-like beings. I don't know. I was just trying to workshop with what little threads we have. My heart's not fully in it either. It's just, I feel like of all the things to guess, I feel like raid series is the hardest thing to lock down. Because I think raid series is tied directly to a map. Like you have with, at least going from like Shadowbringers, Endwalker, and Dawn Trail. Shadowbringers, you know, you got introduced to the concept of the MT, went back to the MT and we restored it. Endwalker, we're in Elpis and we're introduced to the idea of Pandemonium in the post-credit scene. We went back to Elpis again. And then in Dawn Trail, I mean, all of that was in Solution 9. And, you know, you're introduced to that with the teaser of Arcadian opening back up again. So this kind of ties back into my MSQ guess, which we haven't talked over yet, which I guess I'll just do next after this one, because like that's kind of tying with a lot of my other guesses. And I think we're going to go to a location that is set up similar to this primal-like community. And we are helping them through a series of fights with these other primal-like communities or primal-like entities. But yeah, my heart's not really in it. I had to put something down for raid, and I couldn't really think of anything to like lock into. We'll go to MSQ. Let's go to G5. I think with the MSQ, not so much like the MSQ itself, but within the trailer itself, I think we're going to be shard hopping a lot in 8.0. I'm not super enthused by that, just because I'd rather us stick with like Atheris itself, like with the source, and kind of explore that, like places that we haven't been to yet that we've talked about already. And I'm not even just saying like Mirror City, but like other locations. I'd rather us stick with the shard, but the way the game is setting up right now, it seems very, very evident that we're going to be like traveling to other shards, other reflections. This ties into my raid series guess here that the raid series can be tied to one of the reflections that we go to. Some kind of calamity thing has happened or is about to happen, and we stop it. But things are still like a little unsettled. There's a bit of unrest there. I'm assuming if we're going with the Final Fantasy VI guess, there might be like a couple different communities that are conflicting with each other. They're at odds with each other, and we're trying to like smoothen out things so that way they can work together again. And we can only do that through fighting because we're the warrior of light, baby. But this also ties into my my ultimate raid series with the Asians. If you haven't played Endwalker, stop listening for the next like 2 minutes while I talk about this. I'm going to talk really fast. So the reason why I think they're saving the Asian announcement for this is that initially with the concept art or concepts of the Zodiark fight that we did in Endwalker, and Zodiark was supposed to be more fully formed. I'm not sure if totally fully formed, but more fully formed. And we were supposed to be seeing other reflections in the background. Like as the phases went to go, like each phase would change, you would see a different reflection in the background of the game. Either reflections we've been to or we haven't been to yet. So I could see that if we did an Asian fight or something that was like a Shadowbringers Endwalker fight, Ancient, what have you, you could have a time where we're fighting Hydaelyn and Zodiark. And with Zodiark itself, they bring back that concept they talked about before where we are seeing multiple shards. And the reason why they're holding this back right now is they haven't shown us any of these extra shards yet or made it very clear that we're going to other shards. So if we see this teaser trailer and we see 2 or more locations, 2 or more shard locations, then we know for a fact that we're going to have these other locations. And then, you know, if it is this ancient theme, that we might be seeing other shards, ones that are present in 8.0 and other ones that we haven't been to yet or may not exist in the way that they do now. I think that would be a handy way. Also, I think it'd be really cool with the Ancients fight if we actually saw. I think my husband was talking about this before when we were both like theory crafting what a Hydaelyn Zodiark like themed ultimate could be. Is that my husband always said that he would love more phases where you're just trying to survive in the fight rather than beat. So things like if we're doing like an ultimate of the Ancients, there's a part where you see like Zodiark and Hydaelyn like fighting in the background and you're just trying to survive the calamity that's happening around you as they're fighting. So like the fallout from their attacks, like akin to the Final Fantasy 16 opening, or like the things that they're summoning around them and they're trying to pick on you as well, like things like that. So I think they're interlinked. That's my big prevailing theory, as close to an MSQ theory as I can get right now, as I think it's hinging on the MSQ trailer to better clarify what to expect with the ultimate. It'd be cool if I was right. Probably not. Next. We'll do... Oh, we finished all of 5. Okay, let's close out 5. Is there any other boring ones to get rid of? I guess we'll do another one that my heart's not in it for, is I4. We could, this is housing. I know they said they had more in store for housing. I know they, my initial guess was going to be that they will do like an overhaul on the house decorations, but they've already confirmed that they're working on that. They want to replicate, there's a mod called Burning Down the House, where it lets you kind of float furniture in your decorating of the housing. You can do some things that you can't possibly do in the vanilla housing, like housing decoration system. And Yoshi has mentioned that they want to like replicate that in game itself, so people who are just using the vanilla client can also achieve what the modders are doing. So I left that off my list here because it's already been confirmed that it's coming in some form or another. But I think there might be other housing things that they'll also announce. And the other thing I can really think of is that we might get another housing district. I think that housing district would probably be, I could see them skipping Shadowbringers because they'll be like, well, you know, it wouldn't make sense for a Sprout to be able to go to a house on the first. So I could see them skipping Shadowbringers entirely and just sticking with Endwalker and it being either Sharlayan or Thavnair. I'm going to say Thavnair just because it's so radically different from all the other housing districts we have, and it has that like rich colors and like geography and all that kind of stuff. They could be boring, go with Sharlayan right away, or they could just do a 1-2 punch, do Sharlayan and Thavnair at the same time, but I highly doubt they would do that. But it's the only other thing I can really think of when it comes to housing that they could do extra that isn't like I would like them, I mentioned before about how I would like for apartments if they could, you know, add in like a balcony at least to give some outdoor furnishings to apartment holders. Or introduce some kind of game mode where you can have instance housing. So like what a lot of people thought that Sanctuary was going to have, wrongfully they thought that it was going to happen, is that we were eventually like lead up to having our own instant housing through Sanctuary. So I can see them maybe going that route now that they know that demand for that is there, but I don't know. I can see some districts happening, some new ones. Any other ones my heart's not in it for? I think that was it for like the big my heart's not in it ones. I guess there's do I have any of the other overhaul ones I have here? No? Okay. I mean, I know this one, a form of it's going to get announced. We'll do 04. And this is data center changes. I don't know exactly what they'll do. I know they've mentioned before they want to address some things about data centers or servers. So this could be anything from addressing the weaknesses that the North American centers have been experiencing for a while here with like the constant DDoS attacks and the disconnections. So I don't know. I don't know this shit at all. This is beyond my scope. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but they could say that they have found some kind of fix here, or they might be transitioning to cloud servers. Like now they tested cloud servers back in the Endwalker era. I refused to test it too long because it was so nice, because I'm East Coast and the American data center is in the West Coast, and oh my god, having like next to no ping was so beautiful that I was like, I can't play this anymore because I don't want to get used to this feeling. Oh, thank you, Saribot. Good bot. So yeah, keeping away from that. But something's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't think we'll fully get cross DC for PF and DF. I can see maybe some regional stuff they'll add. I feel like it will have a big asterisk next to it of like, hey, we're doing this thing, but not the way you want it. And it's not me being doomer. I just think there's probably too many limitations in the system still to do like a full true like cross-regional, cross-DC things for DF and PF. But I feel like something's coming at some point. They've talked about it before about how they want to do it for a while now. And I know in the Raider side of things, that's like the biggest ask because of the things I talked about before with having to travel to different DCs and different servers to play together. So I can see them doing more baby steps towards that reality. I don't think we'll fully get there just yet, but I feel like they're making steps towards that. What that looks like, I'm not too sure. Mostly because I'm just not versed in something like this at all. And I don't want to pretend to even try to make a guess of it because I don't know where to start. But it's coming up at some point or another. And I can see them talking about this specifically at the American one, just because I feel like the American player base is the most vocal about this, partially because of like, you know, America's big. America's real big. And like the DC's the West Coast, and there's the whole rest of the country. I'm on the East Coast, so like on the American side of things, I get, other than the people who, you know, play in like Europe and other countries and regions and continents, joining like the North American data centers. Like I'm of the intended clientele, I'm the furthest one out. And I feel like people are really, really vocal here. I've actually been reading a lot of the 14 forums lately on all the languages, like all the regions. Just to see like how things are and like how similar people are talking about things or how different it is. And North America is definitely the most vocal by far. So I can see them saving this one specifically for the North American stop. Next, I think that's all of 4 that's done now. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3 left. I'm just seeing if there's one in specific that I would want to say for last. Okay, I guess okay, sorry, I forgot. I have one more doomer thing, but it's a very specific me doomer thing. We're gonna do it with B3. We'll finish off the Bs. So Bard's here again. Hi, Bard. I'm really sad because I think it's the end of times for me and my kin. I think they're gonna give Bard a rework because they're gonna add a new Fizz range job, and I think they're gonna take Bard's dots away, and I'm gonna cry because I love dot management so much. I love Bard's dot stuff. I wish they would add more to it. Like, give me 5 dots. But if they do and like add a job like Gambler, I feel like they would do all the dot stuff with Gambler potentially, which would be cool if they did. But that's just my hopium, my hopium talking. I think they're just been steadily getting rid of like all dots in the game, and Bard's like the last bastion for dots. And I think Yoshi B's gonna take it away. I'm gonna be really, really sad about it. So that's my other doomer pose. This is more me specific doomer pose, and I'm really sad about it. Of course, the sad music starts now too. If this happens, I'm gonna be so sad. I might actually cry a little bit. I'm sad thinking about it right now. Because like, god damn, they've just been steadily making the game like less fun for me to play. But moving on, we have 3 things left. What do we have left? We have this one, we have that one, and we have that one. Okay. I feel like I left all the dry ones left, but let's go with 03 first. 03 is I feel like if I have to make a guess of like where exploration content is and where crafters and gatherers content is going to be, and it's not my fever dream of like a remake of Hamlet Defense, I know the easy guess is to do a Garlemald restoration, but because I feel like we're going to be focusing so much on shard hopping this expansion, I think it's only natural to do a restoration project on the 13th, because we've been the 13th before. I feel like we're going to be tying the 13th a bit more after. There's some threads that are left open, but there's like, I feel like there's going to be some kind of way that we can feed a more consistent level of other ether to help balance out the 13th. And that will make way for us to do crafter and gatherer content to actually like rebuild some settlements. So I'm trying to stick more thematic wise with this one. I know exploration content, I know it doesn't really match with what I said before with Corvos being the exploration content, but I'm just kind of grasping at straws here. And I didn't want to put everything into shard hopping, even though I've put in like 4 different things tied to shard hopping, but that's my guess anyway, as I think it might be a 13th restoration. I'm just really hoping we're not hopping into more planets, because or no more Doomer. Next is, what do I want to end on? Both of these are kind of meh. I kind of fucked this one up. Okay, yeah. We'll go with G1 next. G1, I just want more variant dungeons. This is my want. I want more than one variant dungeon expansion, please. Thank you. So in my heart of hearts, my hopium is that Yoshi P is like, ayo, next expansion, you're getting 3 variant dungeons. It would be cool. I'll settle for 2, but it'll be like 3 variant dungeons. So you'll get 1 variant dungeon at the 0.1 patch, 1 on 0.3, and 1 on 0.5, baby. Let's go. One of them is Ishgard. One of them is, I don't know what else, but like I like variant dungeons. It's my favorite side content to do. Other than like deep dungeons, because I love those. Oh, I never did the guess for deep dungeons. That's where I fucked up. Oh well. Anyway, I think I hope, not I think, I hope we get multiple variant dungeons this time around, because this time we only got 1, and I would like to see more. That's it. Last but not least is G2, and that's the release date. So again, there's been a lot of people talking before. There's a lot of panic when the Fanfest schedule was originally announced, and people were thinking that we wouldn't get the 8.0 until like April, May, June, July of 2027. Yoshi P said, to correct that, or to quell that Doomer posting, that it would release soon after the Japanese Fanfest in late October, early November. I know a lot of people are hoping for potentially being a December release. I don't see that happening, partially because when Endwalker had come out, Yoshi P had mentioned that they never want to do a December release ever again. Mostly because it causes a lot of strain within the staff of like maintaining the game, and with the holidays coming up. And there just being a lot of holidays in December across multiple cultures. So while I know a lot of people say that Japan isn't really huge, like they don't hugely celebrate Christmas like a lot of other countries do, they do celebrate New Year's, which is like, a week after. So with, Christmas being a lot of the West celebrating it, and then Japan with more of the New Year's, and the West also celebrates New Year's stuff as well. It makes sense that they would try to avoid that. They do. I'm going to say, I'm not American, but I'm going to say America also needs more holidays. Yeah. I remember at one point I was working for an American company, like from Canada, and they're like, "You're going to observe the American holidays," and there was like 5. And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like they had like 5 federal holidays. Now is it for the whole year? I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I thought Canada was bad. This is depressing. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be December. I think they're gonna want to avoid that. So I think it's gonna come out in January, like after all the dust has settled from all the holidays. I'm thinking, what was the specific date I had in mind? This is taking into account of the early release date, not the actual true release date. I was thinking that if it is in January, that it would release on January 22nd for the early release date, and the full release date would be January 26th. I think someone said if we do the math with the patches, that actually follows the schedule pretty soundly. I think it gives a few weeks after all the dust is settled. It's usually around the time, like this past year is when like the raid was released for like the raiders. They waited until after the holidays. So it was around like that time frame. I think it's still well in time for if you want to do financial things with quarters, like it's still within like that. You're giving time for the game to release and simmer, like, and like marinate within the fan base to see money like flow in for like the quarterlies and like the financial like fiscal year. I think it's like it's a good time to do it, and you're not really competing with other things as well. So that's my guess. I know a lot of people are also saying February and March. I don't think March is going to happen at all, or at least I hope it doesn't. I don't really see February happening, but who knows? I'm fairly certain it will not be December. It would be wild if it was November. I think, when is Japan's Fanfest? I think it's literally like October 31st, November 1st. 1 second. Japan Fanfest 2026. Not Fanta, Fanfest. It just says October 2026. Okay, I'm assuming it's like what, 30th, 31st, or 31st and the 1st? I guess there is a chance for a November release date. I just feel like that's too fast. I think if we went over the release cadence of the patches, I guess November would line up pretty well. But I don't know about that because I know the last story patch comes out in September rather than, because they usually release things on 0.55, but this patch cycle they're doing a 0.56 for the MSQ instead. So I assume they wait until early 2027, but who knows? I don't know. I'm still fairly certain it's going to be January 2027, but I would love to be proven wrong. But that's it, guys. That's the bingo. We did it. Thank you for humoring me on all this stuff here. You will see these bingos pop up over the course of, for the FanFest over the course of this year. What do we win? My company. My spouting of Final Fantasy nonsense for hours on end. But yeah, we will definitely be seeing this bingo sheet pop up over the course of these 3 FanFests. And then my hopes and dreams one, I mean, this one will just periodically pop up as time goes on. Hopefully at least some of these things on this one gets checked off. It'd be really nice if it did, but I'm not holding.
I am so
It's true.
gay. I am extremely gay.
It is very true. I am very extremely gay, and I'm very happy about it. But yeah, so yeah, these are the bingos. Let's just go back over here. Thank you so much for coming by. I will apologize because my original goal was to take like a 20-minute break, 20-minute break, have some food, do stuff with Callie, come back refreshed, and like play Final Fantasy VIII. I'm sure you could probably hear it a little bit in my voice, but my voice is actually starting to go. I didn't think I would talk this much, and yeah, I don't have it in me to play more and stream more. Not to mention my computer's been acting weird. It's it's been over 4 hours. I think I went live like just before 1. So yeah, I'll see if there's a way I can squeeze in an extra stream this week at some point. So I have like the weekend and then maybe one midweek one. I do want to play more Final Fantasy VIII, but I just don't think it's feasible, especially since I'm literally gonna be on the phones all day tomorrow. So I don't want to completely ruin my voice and have to take time off, especially since I don't have any more sick days left right now. So yeah, that would be a bit of a headache. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming by. I'm so sorry I'm low energy now. I'm a little tuckered. I'll post on Blue Sky when to expect the next Final Fantasy VIII stream. It will definitely be a Final Fantasy VIII stream, no other shenanigans. And then I'll figure out what to do for Fanfest, because even if no one really wants to, I want to. I want to stream it and have fun. And for anyone who does the stream thing, I'd be open to, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I was going to actually reach out to a few friends as well. Is that if anyone is open to like either co-streaming or just being on the call together while we watch the Final Fantasy 14 Fanfest. That's, if I can even get the day off. I have to figure shit out. There's a lot of things I have to figure out, but I'll let you know. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. If you're American or Canadian, do your taxes. You're running out of time. And stay healthy. Stay sane, stay healthy, touch some grass. Don't scroll on the internet too much. Drink some water, take your meds. And I'll see you later. Bye.